Welcome to the Thursday card here in South Ozone Park, New York. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing for the love of the race. Visit americasbestracing.net today. It is a glorious Thursday afternoon, sun shining, warm. It is definitely summer as we have the countdown on, just days away. Well, a couple weeks away until we get to Saratoga, but we can say days. Greg Wolf, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Don't laugh at me.
Say whatever you want.
It's very
Greg.
close.
You're the host, Greg. You're in charge.
We're getting set for, we had a jump race to start things. We'll look back on that a little bit later. Underway in the early Pick 5, race 3 coming up next. And it's a big question of what do you do with Kali Magic in here?
I mean, you and I both, in picking the race, came up with Kali Magic, just like the public, at 3-5. And she is much the horse to beat. You made an interesting point. In her last 3 races, her one, not a terrible effort, but her one sort of subpar effort was the only dry track among those. And she's got a real foe in Cinderella's Cause off the claim for Linda Rice.
Yeah, reclaim for Linda Rice. So Cinderella's Cause 5-2, although Kali Magic beat her pretty handily last time out. This race, 2 minutes to post. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale for more.
Thanks, Greg. And yes, while Kali Magic, she looks healthy as she typically does, and she does possess that outside speed. I think that's so dangerous, and dynamics might work more favorably for her. But when it comes to judging these two, strictly, boiled down to how well they appear prior to this race, it's a landslide to number 3, Cinderella's Cause. I think she looks phenomenal here for Linda Rice, who does claim her back after losing her, dropping her actually. Took her for 16, dropped her to the 12-5, got the blowout win. And now it seems as though with that win that she got her at the bottom level, it seems like her confidence has kind of come back around, and Linda saw fit enough to go back in for the $45,000 for her. She looks better than ever. I can't necessarily explain why, but she's a horse that's always carried her weight well, but maybe struggled to look athletic and streamlined. And now those two things have come together. She's so well muscled, especially behind the saddle. Again, not the greatest post because she looks to be stalking Kali Magic in here. I just hope that Jose Lezcano can work some magic and get the right kind of trip with Cinderella's Cause, because no doubt about it, Greg, she's doing best.
So the reclaim for Linda Rice. Thank you, Maggie, who is on your screen right now. Try and turn the table. She got 4 lengths to try and make up on Kali Magic when they met in this race back on May 12th.
Yeah, I think the gap and the difference in prices is too extreme, 5-2 and 2-5. I think you and I both thought it would be more like 3 or 4-5 and maybe 8-5. But you can never underestimate the power of Irad Ortiz. And the 6 is loose near Kali Magic, and I think that what Jose Lezcano is going to do is let her go. But then he's going to try to stay at least within hailing distance or set up shop outside of her and hope she's the better horse. I hope Maggie's right. I used them both in the Pick 5. I smoked out that 4-5 firster that won race number 2. So I'd much prefer to see the better priced horse win here. And I don't think the gap is extreme. It should be this extreme, and I think you agree.
I do. I thought there were some big question marks with the heavy favorite in here, including that mainly that race 2 back, and then also too coming off big figures had. That's when that bad figure race came and then just repeated that number again. So did the horse react to that? I don't know.
She is the controlling speed and the horse to beat. The gap in prices is too extreme once again, but I do prefer her as do you.
Chris Griffin to kick off our Fox Sports 2 coverage here from Belmont at the Big A. Let's go upstairs.
All set. And they're off. Kali Magic breaks very well, so does Racing Colors is up with the pace this afternoon. Crystal Air moves right to the outside. It's going to be the early trailers out in the center of the racetrack. Kali Magic is quickest. Kali Magic is in front. Racing Colors is back there in second and moving forward towards the inside. Cinderella's Cause. Amity Island's trying to move up closer as well, and Crystal Air was intent on being in the center of the racetrack and got there, is in fourth as they start to get closer to the leader now as they hook up with the backstretch. 23-3, easy opening quarter mile for Kali Magic, and Irad Ortiz Jr. is well clear, is up by 3/4 of a length. Challenging to the outside, Cinderella's Cause is right there in second. It's another 2. Back to Racing Colors, who's a shared third as Crystal Air starts to move up. They're third and fourth. The trailer is Amity Island as the front two start to get away. Less than a half mile to go, 46.34. For the half mile time at 2 to 5, Kali Magic is doing it nicely. It's Kali Magic who's still up by a full length, trying to move in closer. Cinderella's Cause is within range in second. Racing Color starts to pick it up from third. Crystal Air is all in, trying to make up some ground, moves down towards the rail now, is in fourth. The trailer continues to be Amity Island as they get set to reach the top of the stretch, and the favorite is being challenged to the outside from Cinderella's Cause. Racing Colors down the center of the racetrack as Kali Magic is trying to put it away, but Racing Colors has got some momentum on the grandstand side. Kali Magic and Racing Colors starts to move in closer. Kali Magic is still in front. It's Kali Magic, Racing Colors with every step is getting closer. Cinderella's Cause is back in it for more. Kali Magic is almost there. Kali Magic wins it at 2 to 5. Kali Magic game to come back there with Cinderella's Cause. Finishing third was Racing Colors in 1 minute 36 and 3.
Kali Magic now makes it 3 wins the last 4 starts, and she looked like she might be in some trouble there in the stretch, but able to eke it out.
She did not win like a 2 to 5 shot should, and Irad Ortiz used that pace advantage to his advantage and her advantage. And the interesting thing is that it's amazing that Cinderella's Cause finished second, because it felt like the Racing Colors had a real chance to catch and pull a real mild upset as a distant third choice. And somehow Cinderella's Cause sort of re-rallied between horses to get second, but basically a blanket finish. And when you're 2 to 5, it was a little too close for comfort, I'm sure, for a lot of pick 5 players, frankly, myself included, because even though I used to 3 and 6, I thought I was going to lose to the 5.
How much bigger is Kali Magic than those two rivals? I mean, that Racing Colors is a diminutive little thing. I thought she was going the best of anyone down the stretch.
I agree, but it just shows also, you know, the pace advantage, having the ability like Kali Magic did to dictate. So Racing Colors a little bit forced to play her game. And the same could be said for Cinderella's Cause, though she has a little more speed than Racing Colors, who's really devoid of speed. So it takes away her closing kick a little bit. It makes you feel like if there had been another speed in this race, Racing Colors probably wins this race.
Too early to say it with this rider right here?
He's won 2 races. You going to sweep the card or what?
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. Wow, jinx.
What? I don't think I jinxed him. I don't.
Irad, so far 2 for 2 on the 2 flat races on this Thursday program here. Look at today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. Races 4 through 9 still to come, and race 4 kicks off a $43,000 pick 6 carryover. My own 3/8 on the turf to begin it. That includes this one, our feature on the grass. Mile on the Grass, allowance optional claiming field, where Chad Brown's Revelita comes back for the 4-year-old debut.
She's technically eligible for a non-winners of 1 because though she's won 2 races, it was a low purse in the one that she won the second time out. But she's also been stake-faced. She's the horse to be coming off a long layoff. Chad Brown's numbers in turf routes off 250-plus day layoffs in the turf are very strong, even better at Naira than other tracks, but very good, 30%. On the other hand, how good is she really? How short a price is she going to be? And both Greg and I are a little interested in taking a shot against her with Towhead, the horse outside of her.
Yeah, from that infamous Saratoga race that was declared a non-wagering event. Couldn't get that starting gate out of the way.
She was a bit compromised in that race and actually ran fine, kept some good company. We'll see, we'll see if she can move forward because she's going to have to run fairly well. She's got some competition here.
It's coming up later. Featured 8th race on the card, Mile on the Turf. Fillies and Mares 3 and up. You can play that race, this pick 6 carryover, the late pick 5, all of it and beyond by getting signed up with Naira Bets. The offer you saw right there, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. New members punch in match 200 and sign up to take advantage of the offer at NairaBets.com. Warm day, necessary to stay cool. And that's what happening now with those competitors we just saw in the last race as we get set to move on to the first leg of the pick 6 coming up. Again, mile 3/8 on the turf here momentarily. Kali Magic, though, able to hold off these closers, doing it gate to wire.
She gets it done, but not winning like a 290 should have. And one thing I'd say about outside, it's warm. There's a very nice breeze outside, so I think it's keeping things a little bit cooler. I was outside a little bit before the watch the second race, and it's cool, keeping things a little cooler.
Irad Ortiz Jr., 2 flat races, 2 wins so far. Let's go down to Maggie.
I should ask him if he wants to ride jump races next. He could be really sweeping the card. Has that ever crossed your mind?
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. So, I mean, but we're here. Thank God, we're doing great. So.
Yeah, 2 for 2 as far as the flat races are concerned. With Cinderella's cause today, not Cinderella's cause, sorry. Kali Magic, she just had such a pace advantage, and you really used that to your advantage.
I did. I don't want to change anything. She looked like last time she can go 23:46 without a problem. She beat the same horses, so I don't want to be in her way. I don't want to change anything. I let her do her thing. She finds herself comfortable in the lead. Let him be her, and when I ask him, she still have some on the end.
I read there's a good chance that you could have many more winners on the card. When you go into a day, do you kind of project that when you're doing your homework? You're like, man, I could maybe go 5 for 5, 6 for 6 type of thing.
I ride 5 today. I have next couple of races off. They all look good today, to be honest. I handicap, and I watched all the replays this morning. Few things. I think this filly, she don't like too much the stick. Yeah. So I hit her one time only. That's what I can see last time when Gomez rode her. Every time you touch her with the whip, she don't like it. And she let me know by the top. I mean, the middle of the stretch, I went to hit him. She no, don't do it. So I do it one time just in case. But other than that, they all look good. I ride some other horses for Mr. Clement. They look good. So let's see.
How do you stay cool on days like this? We've got a little bit of a breeze, but the sun is hot.
It's really hot today, to be honest. I think it's the first day probably that we've been this hot. It's a lot of humid. Yeah. I mean, a little uncomfortable, but it's better than being freezing.
I like the freezing cold. I'm a weirdo.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I've been here before, but it's not easy either. No. I mean, I have a lot of respect to everyone who rode in the winter time, because it's not easy with your hand freezing out there. That's pulling a horse and trying to do the best for the horse is something very, very hard to do. I mean, it's hard, but we're here. Great weather, great day. We can't complain.
Well, keep up the great work. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mari.
All right, Irad Ortiz Jr., 2 for 2 so far. Trying to keep cool, too, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Wins on a short price favorite here. Started things off on a first-time starter that went off at a short price. He's going to get a little tougher from here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he has one more win of equity with his starters, but it's already been a good day for him, and I think Irad will have plenty of good days in the future. He's really riding at the top of his game, and I know that's funny because he's won, what, 4 or 5 straight Eclipse Awards?
5 total.
5 total, but I don't think I've ever seen him riding better than he's riding now. He just seems to be making every right move.
Pretty incredible. He has just that determination to never quit, just get better and better and better. We keep seeing it year after year. 4th at Belmont of the Big A, mile and 3/8 on the turf to start off the pick 6 carryover in this maiden special weight in the 6. Miss Sedona 7-2 right now on a filly who was second, beat by Cy B, who would come back and run second in a grade 2 next time out.
Yeah, and improved her buyer point 12 points. She ran fine. She broke about a length slow in that race. I agree with you. She had a good trip after that, but she might have just lost to a better horse. And I think the question here is who's going to be most comfortable at a mile and 3/8. Is there any sort of random horse? And I'm hoping the 8, Just Marianne, is that horse that'll improve at the 11 furlong distance, because a lot of horses can go from being sort of an okay runner at a mile to a mile and 1/8 and be a stakes horse. And Just Marianne, the 8, is after a horse named Family Way, who improved dramatically as a distance runner on the turf, so I was hoping that would help her. Maybe she'd be forward. But to say that Miss Sedona is not the horse to beat is ridiculous. She is the horse to beat.
Want to test your skills.
I failed.
Over, under, how much does this daily racing form go for?
I haven't bought a daily racing form in a long time.
I want to know your Price is Right skills.
I'll bet $9 and a penny.
Ooh. Over. $12.
Really?
Frank Miramati apparently a little bit better at this game than Andy Serling. We'll tell you what he won on the program when we come back. Stay with us. Opening day is right around the corner. I heard breaking news it was just days away at the top of the program. We can't wait. July 11th, opening Thursday. We will be there all meet long. And we got that little preview, extra taste of things for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. And I think that's just even increasingly whet everyone's appetite for the summer.
Couldn't agree more. 3 weeks from today, we will be in Saratoga for opening day and looking forward to getting up there. But I gotta tell you, happy to be down here as well. The racing's been very good since we've come back. Stuff to look forward to. Nice cards all weekend. So we'll get to Saratoga in time, but it's not so bad being here.
Here's our Fox Saturday Saratoga schedule on Big Fox. Kicks off at the Coaching Club American Oaks July 20th. Includes the Travers Prep, the Jim Dandy, the Whitney. We'll have some news on who might be lining up in that race later on in today's program. Alabama for 3-year-old fillies, and then DraftKings Travers, August 24th, the unofficial fourth leg of the Triple Crown.
Yeah, and of course, Torpedo Anna is supposed to run the Coach Club American Oaks as well, and she's obviously solidified her position as the leader of that division, but a lot of things can change, and I think the 3-year-old division, boys, they're wide open right now. It'll be interesting to see how things evolve. The Haskell, the Jim Dandy, the Curl, and then leading the Travers.
Yeah, that's so many wide open divisions, but it'll be fun to see because no one has asserted themselves.
No question.
Amongst the 3-year-olds. 6th year in a row, we've had 3 different winners in the Triple Crown races.
Hopefully they'll all meet up in Travers and with some new shooters as well.
Talked about the voice of Saratoga, what he was up to the last few days. This was unexpected. Frank Miramati, he went to support his partner, and he wound up on the program on The Price is Right, and he won a little trip to the islands, Hawaii.
Yeah, nice week basically in Hawaii. He won a dishwasher as well, which is good because we don't want to think that Frank is eating off unclean plates.
And, yeah, if he was guessing pizza prices, no one in this world would have had a chance.
That would have been fixed. That would have.
But he got to spin the big wheel as well. I heard he almost fell over.
Apparently the big wheel's tougher to spin than you would have thought.
Congrats to Frank.
I don't want to throw any stones,
that's
you know?
big
I'd probably
pressure.
Fall on my face doing it myself.
That's big pressure to get on that show, and then it's easy to do it from home on your couch.
I'm thinking Frank's been in some pressurized situations before. I think he's coming off a kind of pressure-packed weekend where he passed with flying colors. Set him up for his big performance. I'm guessing this was before. Must have been filmed. He didn't tell me he was coming on. Did you know?
I did not know. I'm assuming that trip to Hawaii is not happening during Saratoga?
It depends. It depends how things are going. If it's a rough first couple of weeks, he might want to be there. Then you'll see.
Yeah.
If there's somebody gone for a week, you'll know. And Tony Alavato sent me a picture and of Frank on The Price is Right, and I said, wow, that guy looks a lot like Frank. He said it is Frank. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty happy to hear.
Great to get on there, and well done winning that trip to Hawaii. And the dishwasher he won, too. He's such a giving person.
Gave it to a friend. Gave it to a friend
Very
who needed a
nice.
dishwasher. I think
Spread the
a
wealth.
friend that was looking for one anyway. So, yeah, no, Frank's the best.
We're going to take a time out. We will be back. Leading the way, came in today up 7 on a Rat RT Jr. Manny Franco. 23 wins already, over 60%. Finishing in the top 3 and looking to keep things going strong before we shift to upstate New York. Manny Franco, stay with us.
Catholic boy rolls in the run. Happy Travers.
Catholic boy standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the Run Happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5
Buy in July. America's #1 ranked yearling sale by percentage of stakes winners, stakes horses, and 2-year-old winners. A catalog packed with precocious yearlings by the nation's best sires, plus a showcase of the freshman sires of 2024. Recent grads include Grade 1 winners Carson's Run, Candy, and Go Rocket Ride, with a growing list of graded stakes winners. The Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings, July 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Jockey Manny Franco has been no stranger to the winner's circle in his career. Even with over 2,000 wins, including multiple Grade 1s, he continues to stay motivated to be the very best in the game.
I'm hungry, I want to win races, that's what I'm here for.
Family has always been a driving force for Franco. From his first trip to the track, to jockey school, and coming to the United States, Manny's bond with his father has been a key component to his success.
I was about like 14 years old. My dad took me to the track every Sunday in Puerto Rico. Saw those animals running, and I just fall in love with the sport.
Throughout his career, Franco has found support from fellow Puerto Rican riders Irad and Jose Ortiz, as well as Hall of Famer John Velasquez.
Coming from Puerto Rico, coming from the same school, you have to be very proud, you know. And although we compete with one another, but you have to be proud to what they've done and to have the talent. There's no doubt that Manny has the talent to be a top rider in the whole country.
It is going to be a photo finish, and I think it was Discreet Lover.
Schering takes the lead. Late move from Dye. Back to third is Sweet Melania. Schering and Manny Franco have won.
And he's gonna do it, Manny Franco, in the Grade 1 Joe Hurst Turf Classic. But it is Tiz the Law, and the New York bred is gonna win New York's Belmont Stakes, the first leg of the 2020 Triple Crown. Here he is, Saratoga's hometown hero, Tiz the Law.
With all his accolades, Manny is still missing that one win all jockeys want the most.
And I want to win the Kentucky Derby so bad, man. That's the dream for any jockey, the Kentucky Derby.
Manny Franco, we all love him. He's such a great competitor. We call him the silent assassin. He just quietly goes about his business. But he, too, he's got better and better and better. And right now he's leading the way, although Irad Ortiz Jr., a couple of wins on today's programs, cut that lead to 5.
Irad not here on Saturday, and Manny's a terrific rider. We love seeing him ride. And, you know, I'm looking at that list. Let's see. Irad Ortiz hasn't won a Kentucky Derby. Now, Flavien Prat got put up to win a Derby. He has a Derby win. It
Country
counts.
House.
Yep, account. Who are you going to say? Jose O'Connor has definitely not won one. Jose Ortiz, who's currently not riding at Churchill, he hasn't won one. There are a lot of great riders that have not won Derbies. Manny is in good company.
Right now, the entry, and there's part of the entry, just deny, favored over the 6, Miss Sedona. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, the 2 for the price of 1 is great when you're shopping for clothes or anything for that matter, but not when handicapping is. That's what we're getting right now, I think, with this entry from West Pace's ownership et al. And Just Deny, while she's run fast enough here for Danny Gargan, I'm a little bit dubious about how is she going to get better with more ground traveling this mile and 3/8 today. She's not your kind of typical Justify. She's a little bit smaller, a little bit handier, and furthermore, she's fairly fired up and kind of fired up and agitated. I wonder if the heat's bothering her just a little bit. I don't know. I just don't like her disposition or her physicality for getting this distance today, especially at a short price. And really, if between the two, I'd rather take Ray Handel's Capodonna just based on appearances here in the paddock. But again, that price is too short. As number 6, Miss Sedona, ran very well in her last start, going the mile and 3/16 at Keeneland. Was entered and rained off a couple weeks ago here at Aqueduct at the Big A. I wish she looked a bit stronger. This is one that she's just a little bit lighter than I remember her appearing, and her hindquarters have really kind of dropped away. Now, she is the perfect prototype for these marathon distances, and obviously with Mike Maker in her corner, she's well equipped to get it. Again, in the past, I've seen her appear better prior to a race. Now, Christophe Clement, he'll send out 2 in here that I find kind of interesting, including number 7, Missoula. We'll see if she really wants to go this far, but I think Irad should be aggressive with her. She was a little resentful to being taken in hand last time, and it kind of took away her closing punch, I think, a bit. So there's not much speed in here. I think he should go. She looks great. She looks strong. She looks fit, coming off a bit of a layoff. And then Christophe will also send out Jitterbug, who she hasn't done that much running in any of her races yet. And while she does predominantly have a bit more of a synthetic pedigree, she's turf built. She has a turf hoof, she has an angular hind end, and she looks like she wants the ground to cover. She's a bit of a bigger leg, your typical kind of daughter of Justify that we've come accustomed to seeing, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. There's Dylan Davis. He'll be on Jitterbug, the Justify filly, whose dam's a half-sister to blame.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of dirt in the family. But, you know, Blame is a pretty effective turf sire, so there is turf pedigree in there, but you think of it more as dirt.
Produced a grade 1 place runner on dirt, grade 2 place runner on dirt, Sloan Avenue. Let's start off with Justin I gets post 3.
I thought Justin I maybe was left with a little too much to do last time out, and if she negotiates a mile and 3/8, she is a big player.
Other half of the entry for Ray Handel, Capodonna.
Well, if you like this one, you can't bet her because she'd be a huge price on her own.
Rail goes to Chad Brown's Queen's Fable, Flavien Prat.
Got a very, very, very pricey pedigree, a homebred for Peter Brandt's White Birch, who Rimska, a good runner, Frankel obviously, but she has been a disappointment. I don't know why her pedigree screams she's going to get much better with distance.
Start number 2 in a turf debut for Malibu's Dynamite.
Yeah, if you like horses shipping in from Delta Downs to try the turf for the first time, Malibu's Dynamite is your girl.
36-1 that first start, past tense, 15-1.
Doesn't seem impossible getting back on the turf for Tony Dutrow, but she'd need to improve like all these with more distance.
Ms. Sedona, Mike Maker, Johnny V.
Probably going to be favored by post time, maybe around 5-2, judging by doubles, and I think you and I both feel like she should be.
Missoula, yeah, agreed. Rod Ortiz Jr. for Christophe Clement.
I won't be surprised when she's forward, as Maggie suggested as well. I don't love her races, but she ran well enough 2 back. I didn't like her last.
Just Marianne, Jose Gomez for Rick Dutrow.
She's a half to family way who love the turf routes, and this is one that Jose Gomez would do well to center the lead. First time for trainer Rick Dutrow as well.
And 4-1 outside with Jitterbug for the Clement barn.
I don't understand why this horse is taking so much money, to be honest with you. To me, Christophe Clement started out in synthetics. He has terrible numbers, synthetic to turf. Usually the ones he runs in synthetic don't do that well in the turf going forward. Maybe she'll be the exception.
Well, let's take a look at this filly, Ms. Sedona, in action in that start against Cy B. Would come out of this race and run second, beat a half length in the grade 2.
She broke a good length slow behind the field. Now, she settles into a very good trip after that. As you see, the rider obviously able to get over the rail, but breaking slow is breaking slow. Now, you've got to be concerned it's going to happen again, and it's never a good thing. But after that, she worked out a very good trip. But having said that, she lost to a horse who had slightly better position, and she lost to a horse that came back and improved her Beyer speed figure in the Wonder again, 12 points to finish second for trainer Cherie DeVoe. So it legitimizes her effort, and if she's as effective at a mile and 3/8, she's just quite simply the horse to beat.
There she is on the outside, the 3, Cy B, the 5 here, who would go on to, again, get narrowly defeated in that grade 2 Wonder again next time out.
I mean, did she hang, Greg, or did she just get outrun on the wire by a horse that might just have been a little bit better? I tend to think it's the latter.
Potentially, yeah.
Because look at how much distance they put on the second and third horses, or the third and fourth horses.
There she is, 7-2 currently, because the entry taking play, as is Chad Brown's Frankel filly, Queen's Fable, with his 2-horse coming out.
And I mean, she has obviously been a disappointment. Rimska, who I believe ran for some of the groups involving, the Saul Cuban groups. Peter Brand obviously purchased her as a broodmare and bred her to Frankel. So she's got a lot of money in her. And Chad Brown has debuted many very good horses, grade 1 winners at Tampa. So it's a positive that he debuted her there. but she's really been disappointing in her races, hasn't really had that much finish, and I'm not sure what suggests about those races that she's going to get better with a lot more distance, which she'll have to. I mean, Frankel's probably better going a little bit shorter, but he has had some success. I believe that McCulloch is a Frankel, and obviously she has been good going long.
That was the 3 we're talking about. There she is. She gets the rail. She gets Flavien Prat, who starts at Tampa.
Isn't she just getting bet because of the Chad Brown factor? Because, I mean, this horse off her first 2 races should probably be 12-1 in this race, win or lose.
Seems that way a little bit. 3 minutes to post. Coming up at this 4th, it starts this pick 6 carryover. Let's go back to Maggie.
And I'll pick up where you guys left off with number 3, Queen's Fable. It felt like in her last race there was some pace to close into, but she was just too far behind, and it was just too little too late. But we haven't seen her since January, and that, I think, is the biggest hurdle she's going to have to overcome today, and that she just doesn't look quite as fit as some of her counterparts here in this contest. She's a little round. She looks very much of the Frankel prototype, but again, just feeling as though, especially for Chad Brown, I've come accustomed to his horses appearing a bit more fit than what Queen's Fable does. So she's also just going to have to run faster than what she ever has so far in her 2 career races. But I do find that. I find that it feels like those Tampa races do tend to come up slower because they're often run in strange paces. I often question what the riders are doing down there. And then they come back to NYRA and you'll see a little bit of an improvement on a Beyer speed scale. But again, I would just like to see her run this race and then kind of regroup from there. As number 5, Past Tense, she's had her chances. They're stacking up. She's 0 for 6 so far. Her last turf race, she taken back to save ground. Then she kind of got shuffled all the way back to last, turning for home. And she was able to make up some ground whilst in the middle of the track. I know Tony Dutrow is having a little bit of a trying year so far, but she looks fantastic. Between her and the horse that I ended up landing on in number 7, Missoula, I thought these two made the best physical impressions. And the distance might not be her friend because I feel like she is a horse that needs to make one run, Greg, so therefore she needs some pace to close into. I just don't know if she gets it here, but she definitely is doing well.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Minute to post here coming up. Let's go back to the 8, who Andy likes, Just Marianne, and a big barn switch.
She's obviously going to have to improve a little bit as well, but her last race is fast enough to put her within hunting distance, and given her pedigree and the dam side, I think there's a possibility that distance is what she really wants. And it's also hard to ignore that she's switching to Rick Dutrow for the first time. Now, having said that, I don't know if Rick was taking, did Rick have her at Churchill? It feels to me like, maybe Rick did have her at Churchill. I don't really know. I think he may have horses there, but she is just coming in from Churchill to New York for this race because she last worked there just a few days ago. But I just thought she was a little interesting. More in the distance, but also getting the switch to Rick. And I think with the right ride, Jose Gomez could be in front in this race, and that could be an advantage. I agree with what Maggie's saying about, the distance races, the paces aren't as fast. And I also agree with what she said about Tampa, that sometimes those figures, you'll see them take leaps forward. The problem is those figures have held up, the races she's coming out of. And she got a quick pace last time, Queen's Fable. Now, maybe she'll just wake up, and maybe she really will want a lot more distance. But if you like Queen's Fable and you actually think at 9-2 she's a good bet, I'm going to disagree with you because I think you need, and listen, the fact that Chad Brown trains her counts for something. Does it count for 10 points? Because if she was trained by Ray Handel, who wins a lot of races, you cannot tell me she'd be $1 under 12-1 and maybe higher. I mean, frankly, Racehorse has a faster race than she does. Now, Ray's got the 1A, so, but this is one where they're just now 4-1. It's Chad Brown, it's Flavien Prat. You're not getting paid betting this horse. And betting horses is not about picking winners. It's about getting paid when you're right. And if you're right with this horse, I don't think you're getting paid at $10.
Meanwhile, back to the 8, who you like, and, maybe not, but a young rider who you don't get a lot of opportunities to ride these marathon turf races. Jose Gomez doesn't quite have the experience some of these other guys in riding these types of races.
That's fair, but having said that, what has been really helping him have the good year he's having, I think he's riding as well as he's ridden in a long time, is being more aggressive. So you'd like to think that it's going to behoove him to be aggressive here. If he's not, Irad can be in front with the 7, but I think it would behoove him to go for the lead and just try to take a shot on the front end. But that may depend on what Rick told him to do, for all I know.
8-1 on Just Marianne, and a young rider right there who's former Eclipse Award winner, his outstanding apprentice, adjusting to life as a journeyman on the toughest circuit in the sport. Today's pool, $185,000 bet into this pick six carryover.
Interesting sequence, because this race, you probably got to use a few. Now, the next race, a 4-horse field, but it gets highly competitive after the 5th race today. Races 6 through 9, you and I talked about them quite a bit earlier. There are multiple horses that can win those races.
We got a rider off as the starting gate crew, and that's Lane Luzzy, does their thing with Malibu's Dynamite. That's a horse coming in from Delta Downs, getting on turf for the first time, was the biggest price on the board.
And at 56-1, I think it's fair to ask yourself, who bet this horse?
Don't do it.
The pick six
Don't do it.
The pick six will carry if this horse wins.
Very good chance.
I took that 1-9 shot right to the bank. I don't think we'll find out.
All right, here we go. $43,000 carryover. By the time the gates open, an additional $200,000 I would think would be bet into this pool. Chris Griffin to get us started. Mile and 3/8 on the turf in this maiden special weight to kick it off.
All set. And they're off. Good speed from Just Marianne. It was a slow start for Miss Sedona, who's going to be the early trailer. There's Missoula from in between horses now, puts a half length in front. Just Marianne and Jitterbug is going to join. 3 across the course as they work into that turn. At the rail is Capodonna, wants to be up with the early kick, as now Just Marianne's taken back to 4th. Following them at the inside, there is Queen's Fable, who's there in the 5th position. Out wider, it's a tight hold on Just an Eye. Junior Alvarado wants to go, is now held back. Is going to be 4 lengths off the leaders, now call it 4.5. Towards the back end past 10th, second to last will be Malibu's Dynamite, and slow starting Ms. Sedona is the trailer. 24-3 for the opening quarter mile. They're chasing Missoula. Missoula's got the lead. It's Missoula who's now in front, is up by, call it 3/4 of a length. To the outside, Jitterbug is tracking from second. Missoula's the clear leader. At the rail, there comes Capodonna, is followed by Just an Eye towards the outside. They're 3rd and 4th. Towards the inside, Queen's Fable is now a comfortable enough 5th. To the outside of Queen's Fable is going to be Just Marianne, who's in the 6th position. They travel as a pair. Getting closer is past 10th, second to last. Still Malibu's Dynamite, Miss Sedona, the trailer. Missoula's got the lead. It's Missoula who's up by 3/4 of a length, ready to challenge towards the outside. Here comes Jitterbug, and Jitterbug is starting to move closer. Here's Jitterbug now within 3/4 of a length of the leader. At the rail there is Capodonna. Out wider is Just an Eye. That's the leading quartet. Queen's Fable's in 5th. To the outside of Queen's Fable still is. Now past 10th is in the 6th position as Just Marianne lost some ground, has gotten passed by Malibu's Dynamite, the trailer, Miss Sedona. They turn up the pressure. 1 minute 17.48 seconds for 3/4 of a mile. Missoula still does it well. Missoula's got the lead, is up by 3/4 of a length with Jitterbug ready to challenge as they move into the turn. 1:42.3 for the mile, and at the rail, waiting patiently is Capodonna. Wants to go, nowhere to go. To the outside, Just an Eye is going to get the jump. Queen's Fable's called upon for the effort past 10th. They're tightly bunched here as the top of this lane, and it's still Missoula fending him off. Missoula's kick for home. Ready to chase his Jitterbug, and here comes Just an Eye. Nowhere to go. Capodonna, just no room. Down towards the inside. Queen's Fable's trying to get out of there past 10th. They line up. Just an Eye's got the lead. It's Just an Eye who's trying to kick clear and does just that. Just an Eye is up by 1.5 lengths. Just an Eye, Queen's Fable, and past 10th battling on, but Just an Eye wins it. Just an Eye gets the victory over Queen's Fable, who's in a photo with past tense and Jitterbug in 2 minutes 18-1.
Just an Eye, Danny Gargenbarn, Junior Alvarado for the entry here did go off the 5-2 favorite.
Yeah, it was a little widened the first time down the stretch, but Junior tucked in that good position, and she ultimately just proved best. Close enough at the slow pace, able to get it done, and a little more in touch in a longer slow pace race than she was last time out. It feels like the number 3 did improve in here, Queen's Fable. I thought she might have gotten second here. I'm not really sure, actually. She may have photoed with a number 5 on the outside. I think she got second over the 5 past tenths, but it was Just an Eye who got it, overall worked out a good trip and got it done. And, you know, I mean, no excuse for the 7. Irad couldn't have done a better job controlling up front. And the 6, Ms. Sedona, I'm not going to blame it all on the break, but she completely blew the break again, worse than last time, and she was just way behind and never made any kind of real run.
Yeah, a little disappointing from her. Entry is the favorite with the win. Let's go back to the beginning and show you that tardy start, just like last time for Miss Sedona.
Yeah, this one even a little bit worse. And the other thing is, she not only broke a little worse, last time at least she got herself into position.
Yeah.
This time she was just, she broke a little slow, and then she's so sluggish. I mean, this race for her was over. And I'm actually curious, you mentioned favorite. I'm wondering who was the actual favorite. Oh my gosh. You rarely see it. She was favored. She was favored. She had 30,000.
She being who?
The one.
Oh, okay.
$30,546. The six, $30,524. $22 separating two horses that had over $30,000 bet to win on them. I don't think I've ever seen one that close, especially at
the
that
public got it right.
money. They got it right. They knew. They knew.
Just deny the win. Junior Alvarado again, Danny Gargan. And our pick six carryover underway. 1, 5, 3, 9.
5 got second.
Yeah.
What's that call on that?
16-1. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, 3 Kentucky Derby victories, over 6,500 career wins. Went over 1,000 at Saratoga back in 2022. More on one of the all-time greats, Hall of Famer Johnny V, when we come back.
In this sport, it takes just one special horse and a lot of people that believe in him. By Champion Arrogant from the family of Broodmare of the Year, Better Than Honor, rose to prominence in the Grade 3 Peter Pan, displayed power in the Grade 1 Belmont, cemented his 3-year-old championship in the Grade 1 Travers, defeating a champion 2-year-old, Kentucky Derby, and Preakness winners.
And the Eclipse Award goes to Arcangelo.
Arcangelo, standing at Lane's End.
Welcome back to our Fox Sports 2 coverage, America's Day of the Races on this Thursday card from South Ozone Park, New York. It's brought to you in part by a legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Our pick six carryover on this Thursday card begins with the slightly favored entry just tonight. Danny Gargan, Junior Alvarado, West Paces Racing. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And here with winning pilot Junior Alvarado. And Junior, I was a little concerned, to say the least, about how she was behaving here in the paddock, about getting the distance. But it seemed like once you got out on track with her, she completely relaxed.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Once we get it going in the post parade, she started a beautiful, nice gallop. She felt a little strong on the bridle a little bit, but other than that, I thought she was handling everything how I wanted to prior to the race, though. And I mean, she broke a little slow. You know, I would have liked to be, you know, I was in the position where I wanted to be, you know, but she didn't help me much at the break, so I kind of had to move a little bit upside, and then, you know, got to the position I wanted it, and I mean, after that, I think she was the best field in the race.
Exactly. She really was. She kind of strutted away from the field, and that's kind of, in a way, a little bit rare. You traveled a little bit wider than most, and she put some separation, going 1 mile and 3/8. You often don't see that.
Yeah, just like I said, I just thought I was traveling the best horse, you know, and I didn't want to give him much excuse after not breaking that well, you know. I said, like, well, let me try to put her wherever I think she can get, you know, her best chance to win the race, and like, I mean, she just proved much the best today.
We'll see you with a familiar stable a little bit later in the 8th with Swoop to finish for Bill Mott. I thought a good run last time. Kind of got shuffled back a little bit early and then picked her way through traffic to get up for second.
Yeah, it broke a little slow then. You know, I got kind of squeezed out of there, you know. We wanted to be kind of close that day, I remember, and, you know, it was a race with only one horse with speed in the race, you know, long speed, and you know, but I think she still run pretty good, you know, for you know, coming through for a second place that day, and we'll see today.
Will we see you closer with her?
Absolutely. We'll break in, you know, ideally we'll go forward from the gate. Hopefully, you know, she breaks clean and nothing happened at the beginning, and we should be more forwardly placed this time.
Great, Junior. Well, congratulations here with just tonight, and looking forward to a little bit later.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Swoop to finish for Junior coming up a little bit later. The barn he's very familiar with, and Hall of Famer Bill Mott.
Now that one going to get a try to turn the tables on a few who finished ahead of her before, including Alluring Angel. Just deny the win here. Good to get on the board early for Junior Alvarado as we kick off our pick 6, and that's how close it was for second.
Yeah, no, got the bob on the outside with a number 5, and they improved and picked up pieces. But as Junior said, and I agree with him, the winner was much the best.
Late pick 5 starts in this race on the main track. 1-turn mile, New York Breds. Entry-level allowance, 1 to 4. Smoking hot kitty.
She's an overwhelming favorite in the doubles. Did you think she'd be that big a favorite over Chasing Daylight?
Not at all.
Yeah.
See if those odds even out a little bit as we get set for this late pick 5 coming up. He's accomplished it all on the track as one of the all-time greats in horse racing history. Hall of Famer, 3-time Derby winner, leading rider all time at historic Saratoga and at Belmont Park. As good as John Velazquez is in the saddle, he's perhaps even better as a leader and ambassador of the sport, where he has enjoyed so much success.
John Velazquez is in the Hall of Fame and has captured 2 editions of the Belmont Stakes. He has 2 Eclipse Awards as champion jockey, has earned more money than any of his colleagues, and has won 3 Kentucky Derbies. However, his legacy continues to grow, not for what he accomplishes on the track, but for his actions when off the track. Honored as the 2009 George Wolfe Memorial winner by his peers, Velazquez never fails to lend a helping hand, words of wisdom, financial support, or a smile to anyone he encounters.
John Velazquez is a role model for our industry, horse racing. It's not only himself. He always tries to share for somebody else.
He's the person we look up to when I was on the jockey school. But when I get here, I get to know him. He played a big role for my career. He teach me a lot on the track, but he teach me a lot off the track.
Everybody knows how good he is in the track, doing his job. He's a great jockey. He wins all kind of races. But besides of being a jockey, he's a great person.
Velazquez, who is second in Breeders' Cup victories with 18, also tirelessly promotes safety for jockeys. He has been the chairman of the Jockeys Guild since 2006 and has been on the board of directors for the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund since its inception that same year.
He not only himself, he always look out for somebody else, safety first, and always looking for making progress, helping the industry, helping the horse racing.
He's hard on me about the way I was riding, you know, a little too aggressive. So he started telling me, try to don't do that because you're gonna lose more in the long way. So he tried to teach me good things. So thanks him.
I think, you know, he's going to have multiple legacies. One of them is going down as one of the greatest riders of all time, but also someone who gave a lot back to the game, you know, and especially with the Jockeys Guild, contributes so much to his fellow riders.
The first jockey to win more than 2,000 races at Belmont Park, Velazquez continues to ride high. His impact on the industry, however, transcends his performance in the saddle and will do so for decades to come.
Well, it's a lot of sacrifices and a lot of discipline, you know, to stay, you know, year after year after year. First of all, you have to be healthy and be blessed, you know, to be here, though, you know. And also, I'm being blessed with the people that I work with and the people who give me opportunity to stay here, to still here. So I think that's all it takes.
It's an incredible career and still going strong into his 50s. I mean, Mig says it all the time, too, that he doesn't feel like he's lost really anything.
I think he's been riding great. I mean, he had a real resurgence, and I think there was a lot of talk. I think we thought he might be retiring a few years ago, but the way things are going, seems no reason, and he's riding extremely well, and he's riding extremely well in a very, very tough riding colony. I'm going to say this colony's better than a lot of the riding colonies he was riding here in New York, and he certainly does more than hold his own.
Career Triple Crown as well. National Treasure helped complete that for him.
Is that right? That was his first Preakness win.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, that's part of that is because Todd Pletcher's had no success at all in the Preakness, and a lot of, not that, you know, all of his success is tied to Todd, but a lot of it is.
Speaking of Johnny V and a horse that he has ridden, 2-year-old champ, Fierceness. What's the latest as he gears up for the Haskell, Maggie?
Yeah, Johnny, he's just one of a kind, somebody that I have always looked up to and respected, and it brings me so much joy to see him winning races still. As, yes, Fierceness, his main 3-year-old of this season, had to skip the Belmont trainer, Todd Pletcher, not happy with the way that he was training and how he came out of the Kentucky Derby, citing that his weight a little bit on the lighter side and a horse who is on the lighter frame side. So giving him a little bit more time to recover. We're going to see him work here today, well, at Saratoga, and by himself, going the half mile in 50 and 4, and just kind of easily, but he is moving very well. If anything, you know, thinking about his workout going back to prior to the Belmont Stakes, he just looks as though he's pushing off a bit better, especially behind. So this is a step in the right direction. I'm sure not asking too much of him. You'll see him tighten the screws in the coming weeks as he does prepare for that start in the Haskell. But yeah, I think this was a step in the right direction, and good on Todd and Mike Rapoli for doing right by the horse, citing that he wasn't ready to participate in that third leg of the Triple Crown. Regroup and look for a campaign for the second half of this year, guys.
We've talked about how wide open this division is, but regardless of what happened in the Kentucky Derby, you know, in his comeback race as well, there's been one 3-year-old who's been brilliant on a couple of occasions, and it's been Fierceness.
Oh, no question. I mean, his Breeders' Cup Juvenile and his Florida Derby, particularly the Juvenile in a lot of ways, these are brilliant races, and when he's able to run his best race, he's the best horse in this division. The problem is he runs stinkers too often, and he's not a horse that's shown any ability to perform at a high level when everything doesn't go his way. I'm skeptical. I hope he has a big second half. I hope he comes back in the Haskell and runs well. I'm going to believe it when I see it. Listen, I wasn't a fan of Mindframe in the Travers, but I'm a lot more impressed by him from what I've seen than Fierceness. At least he's running those races. Fierceness, I don't know how anybody can have any confidence in him.
But when he does show up, he shows up in a big, big way. No question about it. It's just too far and few and far between. Some big ones still out there. The Haskell, that's the intended comeback for him. Then the Travers Prep, the Jim Dandy. Travers, the big one, August 24th, and that Penn Derby will be September 21st. All those last couple grade ones on the schedule in a wide open division that still remains. It's going to be fun to see how this picture plays out. Incredibly sad news in this sport that was just reported. Formerly in charge of Steve Asmussen's Belmont Park division, Toby Sheets has announced that he died from drowning, according to a Greek coroner. 55 years old, native of Hot Springs, Arkansas. He was on vacation in Greece when he was found dead back on June 16th on a rocky, remote beach on the Greek island of Mathraki. He'd been reported missing since June 13th. Incredibly sad news. Several here, part of this team, knew him very well. Probably none better than Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, so sad to hear about the passing of Toby Sheets.
Yeah, it's been a rough week, Greg, to say the least, for my family and I. Toby was part of my family. When you're at the racetrack, you're often away from your blood family, and he was someone that I've been been friends with since I first moved here, and we spent numerous holidays together. He was by my side when I married Tom. He was one of the first few people to hold my daughter at Grace when she was born. And Toby was somebody who had a larger-than-life personality. He was infectious with his laugh, his sense of humor, and his wit could put you at ease and keep you on your toes all in the same breath. But the thing that, hits home with me more than anything with Toby is love. Love for his horses. His horsemanship was second to none. Love for his friends. I know if I could call him in the middle of the night, he would show up if I needed him. And maybe something that people don't know is the love that he showed to my children. He didn't have children of his own, and he just did everything with them, from recitals to holidays, and he will be greatly, greatly missed. Love you, Tobes.
Incredibly sad news. Maggie, thank you for sharing that. Steve Asmussen came out with a statement as well, saying he's going to be greatly missed, and he was a part of some very big runners from that barn.
Well, he ran the New York stable for Steve for many, many years and did a great job. And Toby's one of those people, and I didn't know him like Maggie did, just knew him a little bit around the track, but he's one of those people that you just feel like life is a little less fun without Toby around.
Again, Toby Sheets passes away, 55 years old, and the entire racing community mourning his loss.
And they're off in the Curlin Florida Derby. After 3 quarters in 112-1, Known Agenda is now on to take over the lead. It's Known Agenda for St. Elias Stable. Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda.
The cross-country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every race day. Races are posted weekly at NYRA.com/crosscountry.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
At Three Chimneys, our name is our promise. Our commitment to quality, our customer, and most importantly, the horse is at the heart of who we are. For over half a century, the storied Stallion Station and Nursery have been a place where dreams are born. From Horse of the Year, the mighty Seattle Slew, to Horse of the Year and modern-day breed shaper, Gunrunner, we've been defined these past 50 years by the company we've kept. Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome to McMahon Thoroughbreds. I'm Joe McMahon. This is my wife, Ann. We're the proprietors of the McMahon Thoroughbred Farm. We bought this place in 1971. This farm here was 88 acres back then. It's now over 800 acres.
McMahon Thoroughbreds is the birthplace of Funnyside, the winner of the 2003 Kentucky Derby and Preakness.
This area has become popular for horse farms because of its proximity to the Saratoga racetrack and the sales, to the extent that now we have 4 major horse farms right within a few miles of here. There's Mill Creek Farm, there's Rick Burke's Irish Hill Farm, there's Quest Royal North, as well as McMahon Thoroughbreds. Probably more importantly than those large farms, there's lots of mom and pop farms with 1 or 2 mares in the backyard. The area has really come into its own in the last 20 years.
I measure success by the quality of the New York breds that are now raised in New York State. With this fantastic breeding program, out-of-staters have been lured into the state, bringing better stock, better stallions.
Currently, we have a horse here called Central Banker. He's pretty successful. He's very popular. We're very blessed to have a good horse like that.
We're getting a much better product to race in New York.
Pays to be a New York bred. New York Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund. For more information, you can go to nybreds.com and find out how to be part of it.
And McMahon Thoroughbred is also staying Buchero, who sired Bookham Dano, Grade 1 winner, Belmont Stakes weekend.
Here is Smoking Hot Kitties. We kick off the post parade for race 5.
We're a little surprised she's this heavy a favorite. I do think she's the most reliable horse in her last 2 dirt races, but we'll see.
The 1 and 6 battle up front. Foxy Kara becomes dangerous.
Well, it happened last time, and she still wasn't able to get up, but Greg is remaining faithful.
Brooklyn Dance at 8-1, Dylan Davis.
She looks to be the rank outsider in this field.
The 1 in front, you think? Chasing Daylight?
Yeah, how is she currently a bigger price than Foxy Kara? I mean, she's won 4 races and 14 stars. She's got more speed. Foxy Kara's 1 for 17. Feels like she's a surprisingly big price right now.
For trainer Rudy Rodriguez, just missed going gate to wire last time out. There is Smoking Hot Kitty. Patented Kendrick Carmouche warm-up. 3-5 right now. Turf back to dirt today, and this was the last dirt start. April 11th, and was a win by 2 lengths.
She really turned things around. Now, I thought maybe she transferred the turf because she'd run well on the turf in the past. But I think she sort of signaled that she's become a kind of dirt miler where she's done her best work and where she's running today. Rossi de Paz, I know that he hasn't had a lot of winners, but his horses have all run well. And you can see that by the fact that about half of them have finished on the board. And I'm a big fan of the work Horacio's done, and you don't have to look any farther than Smoking Hot Kitty and see how much she has improved in the recent starts for him. She's the horse to beat in here. I am a little surprised she is this heavy a favorite.
3-5. That win, she sat just off the pace. The race before that, she went gate to wire. Might be a little tough to try and get the lead from the 6 in here, although with that inside post position, Kendrick's going to do what Mig always says.
I think he needs to go, let the 6 Chasing Daylight take the lead, and then try to set up shop outside of her. They're both much faster than Brooklyn Dance and Foxy Kara, so they should be able to create some separation. And I think both riders, both Kendrick Carmouche and Jose Gomez on Chasing Daylight, should want to put some separation on the other horses. Don't make one of these small bunched fields where you've got to really be the absolute best horse to get the wire. Use your speed to your advantage in these situations. I think both of these horses should do that.
Small fields, strange things can happen, though, including traffic, which you really wouldn't think would be an issue. But quite often it can happen because you got a target on your back at times. Here is Chasing Daylight, Foxy Kara, when they met back on May 24th.
For those of you that have never seen an equine chandelier, Foxy Kara is going to do a very, very brilliant rendition of that.
Red cap behind this group.
I mean, Eric Cancel could not have given her a better ride. The rail was good this day, and it's worth noting that Chasing Daylight was never on the inside. In fact, the eventual winner was on the inside. And, I mean, he wheeled out like she couldn't lose, and she just stalled. Is the mile a little far for her, or is she a 1 for 17 horse that just doesn't want to win? And I watched this race, and I asked myself how you could like her over the number 6 Chasing Daylight. But, Greg, you like her, and you like her chances more than I do.
I just thought last couple of races, she's paired up numbers too, could move forward. She got a little bump out of the gate in that start. And again, the 1 and the 6 potentially. I know she got a setup there too, didn't finish, but she could get another setup and a better chance going in the right direction to finish the job today. We'll see. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
I understand where Greg is coming from when it comes to Foxy Kara, but she's not my cup of tea. From the way she runs her races, from the way that she appears in the preliminaries, that she's just never one that I'm going to be attracted to. But number 6, Chasing Daylight, I really do like her effort last time out. I thought she was very game. She tried to run them off their feet, going fairly quickly, especially to the half. So really speeding things up after the race got underway to try to spread the field out. And she just came up a neck short at the end of the day, and I think she looks great here. And she's one that used to wear an extension blinker, and Rudy has taken that off since, and now it's on number 1, Smoking Hot Kitty, who I haven't seen in a while. And talking with Patrick Davis, our paddock judge here, I had to confer with him and asked, has she been wearing that? Because she is a horse that always throughout her career has had different types of corrective equipment on, whether it be a bit or a a noseband, a drop noseband, or now the blinker. She looks great. She's warming up beautifully. She looks uber healthy. But I just thought that with number 6 in here, Chasing Daylight, who at least on paper could be faster than her. I think with the rail draw, she's kind of under the gun to go. And I just thought that Chasing Daylight would sit the more comfortable trip, Greg.
Excuse me, see what happens. Chasing Daylight on the lead last time out, could not finish, and we're going to have a 3-5 breathing down her neck today.
She kind of should have won last time. But in all fairness, the winner got the inside, and the inside was very much the place to be. And I think it hurt her staying off the inside. Having said that, she's just had so many chances recently, and it kind of felt like last time was the time where all the stars were aligned. But I guess she didn't get the absolute perfect trip. I took the 1 over her. I don't think, though, the price difference is warranted. And even though, you know, like prior to this, when in race number 3, when the favorite got it done, who was the heavy favorite, Cali Magic, and we said we thought she was a little too short in price. She was. She paid $290, and she won a 3-horse photo. I don't think there should be this big a discrepancy on these 2 horses either.
Jose Gomez, Kendrick Carmouche on the 1. Jose Gomez on the 6. We'll see if there's a cat and mouse game going on here or if the 6 takes command. And Kendrick, as you said, could set up shop just outside that one. Interesting race with just only 4 runners in here to see how it plays out. Starts this late pick 5 on our Thursday card. Chris Griffin the call.
Move in. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Chasing Daylight right out to the front, and Brooklyn Dance in between horses at the rail. Here comes Smokin' Hot Kitty. Off a step slow was Foxy Cara, who will be the early trailer. It's Chasing Daylight. Jose Gomez crosses over the field, and Chasing Daylight secures the rail position, wants to be closer to the inside as they now hook up with the backstretch. Chasing Daylight is up by a neck. Right to the outside, Smokin' Hot Kitty, 3 wide. It's going to be Brooklyn Dance, and now Foxy Cara moves up. Foxy Cara, Eric Cancel is tugging at Eric Cancel, wants to go, is in 4th, is the trailer, but only 2 off the lead. 23-4 for the opening quarter mile. Chasing Daylight at 5-2 is in front. The favorite to the outside, and Smokin' Hot Kitty is 3/4 of a length back there in 2nd. Foxy Cara continues to progress into 3rd. Brooklyn Dance is trying to keep up, now gets encouragement from Dylan Davis, is trying to hold that position with less than 4 furlongs to go. 46-4 for the half-mile time, and Chasing Daylight is still in command. Chasing Daylight, Smokin' Hot Kitty moves in closer, and Smokin' Hot Kitty and Kendrick Carmouche ready to challenge now, and Smokin' Hot Kitty has taken the lead. It's Smokin' Hot Kitty now trying to keep up as Chasing Daylight, still holding that rail position. Foxy Cara is trying to rally on with Brooklyn Dance, who's now reclaimed 3rd. They reach the top of the stretch. Smokin' Hot Kitty trying to put it away, and Smokin' Hot Kitty now sprints in front. It's Smokin' Hot Kitty, who's up by a length and a half, trying to widen this margin. Foxy Cara's in the clear and in pursuit. Chasing Daylight is hanging on to 2nd right now, but Smokin' Hot Kitty is getting the job done so far. Inside the final 16th, the favorite will oblige. It's all Smokin' Hot Kitty to win this one easily. Smokin' Hot Kitty over Chasing Daylight, Foxy Cara, and Brooklyn Dance in 1:37.1.
Textbook from Kendrick Carmouche, did exactly what he needed to do here, and she was best as well.
Yeah, this one did win like a 3-5 shot should. She was able to stalk. The 6 broke very well. Jose Gomez went, but didn't really matter. She was being stalked by a horse that's just better than she is. Chasing Daylight finished 2nd best horse, but winner in here, Smokin' Hot Kitty, won 3 straight races on the dirt. She's taken advantage of circumstances, and she's run well in all those races.
3-5 favorite starts this late pick 5. Kendrick Carmouche gunned out of the gate. Let the 6, well, there's no stopping the 6, going to the front, and then wheeled outside of that one, exactly where he wanted to be, and then she rolls to victory. 1-6-2-3 finish. And wins for the 5th time in her career. 3 wins in her last 4 starts.
Yeah, and then the only loss was a race on the turf. 3 straight on the dirt and in good form. We'll see if she can find other places. And that pigeon's not going away. It's kind of mad, Greg. You took a spot.
Yeah, we peeked in on our set earlier. Someone was trying to take my job, take my seat. And it's become our unofficial mascot now of this program.
He's going to be taking over for a little while.
Kendrick Carmouche the win. Smokin' Hot Kitty Again, 3 wins, last 4 starts, and all last 3 on dirt. Galabrand making a comeback this weekend. Beat the boys of the Grade 3 with anticipation last summer, Saratoga. Getting set for a 3-year-old return in the Wild Applause this weekend. We'll have a preview next.
Monmouth Park summer season rolls on with live racing action every Friday to Sunday. Monmouth's 2023 season featured our highest average field size since 2015, the perfect recipe for a prolific payday. With a stakes race every Saturday and Sunday, plus our Winter Early Pick 5, Monmouth Park is your summer place to profit. Joining us on site? Lock in your odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Back in our Fox Sports 2 coverage on this Thursday afternoon from South Ozone Park, New York. Kendrick Carmouche, smoking hot kitty, much the best. Here to kick off the late pick 5.
Yeah. I mean, this one, unlike the one earlier today, she probably was the right price at 3 to 5. She's just too good for these horses, and Kendrick put her in the perfect spot, got it done.
Kendrick riding for America's Pastime Stable, and the trainer standing by with Maggie.
Yeah, here with Horacio De Paz with Smokin' Hot Kitty, and she's kind of a funny horse, Horacio. Began her career being a daughter of Kitten's Joy, wanting the turf, and now it seems as though she's much happier on the main track.
Yeah, she really is. I mean, breeding-wise, you would think that turf would be suited for her, and she ran really well on the turf at Saratoga last year, and with the year that we had, we didn't try her on the dirt till December, I believe, and then she just kept, overachieving, hitting the board, even sprinting. She was running good thirds, and then we stretched her out, and she just, got into a good rhythm.
Talk a little bit about the equipment that she wears, that extension blinker. I know, throughout her career, I feel like other connections have kind of experimented with that equipment. This seems to work, though.
Yeah, because on the turf, she had some complicated trips. When you pull on her, the way that she carries herself, she just lugs out. So to make it easier on the rider, we put that extension blinker, and on the dirt, since it's basically a one turn, you don't have to take too much hold of her. So even Kendrick said she really takes a good hold of the dirt.
That's amazing. Certainly has found a new home. And Horacio, we saw you, especially with the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, a lot of your horses running well. We saw it in Saratoga, a lot of them running well, but not making it to the winner's circle. You're such an even keel guy. Does that eat at you at all? Or is it just you look at it, well, I can probably win with them next time.
Yeah, I mean, we had some hard beats. We ran into some very nice horses, you know, in that A other than Ways and Means. I mean, you got to respect her. Very nice. I was very happy with my filly. Like you said, as long as they're performing well and doing well, I kind of feel bad for them because they put hard efforts out. But they just run into some, you know, serious horses. But you know, they're not embarrassing themselves.
They're not. Well, keep up the great work and congrats here.
Thank you.
All right, Smoking Hot Kitty. She's a dirt horse, Greg.
Yeah, long time on the grass and dirt has been a complete turnaround for her.
No, she's really 3 straight mile dirt races, able to get it done and got it done easily today. Competition at some point might get a little tougher, though.
Formful. Pick 6 carryover. We got a long way to go, though. 4 legs remain up next. 6 furlong sprinting on the outer turf. Starter optional claiming field. And these odds are going to change quite a bit.
It's odd. I mean, looking at like pick 4s and pick 5s, the number 2, Quiescent's the favorite. But in the doubles, sort of a distant second choice, the number 10, Linerite, who is always sort of compromised by her lack of speed. And the 2 obviously has more speed, Quiescent. And you and I are going to go a little off the beaten path. You like Ms. Bonnie T. And I'm interested in the 9, Status Seeker, trying the turf for the first time.
Wide open race. 6 furlong turf sprint. We'll have more coming up on it, including the post parade. Momentarily, going to break, we talked about Wild Applause. We got the race coming up this weekend named after this filly. She was the lone 3-year-old in this Diana, and it was her grass debut.
It was. She was a Northern Dancer, and she was from the brilliant broodmare Glowing Tribute. She had lost as the favorite in the test to Sintra in her prior start, and then she got into this race, paid, I think, $9 and change. She may have run one more race after that, but she was one of many, many stakes-winning sons and daughters of Glowing Tribute, which included Sea Hero, but Hero's Honor, Danger's... actually, Danger's Hour I don't think was sired by him. She was broodmare, but Glowing Honor, Coronation Cup, we have a race named for. A lot of these Glowing Tributes were amazing. Glowing Tribute won the Diana in the mid-70s, but she was very, very, very good, and a daughter of Northern Dancer, and what I'm guessing was, if not his last crop, one of his last crops.
Rokeby Stable, Mac Miller, and a great one.
I bet her here.
Even more important.
Better against Sintra and lost.
This year's edition of the Wild Applause, we're going to see the return of Galabrand, who beat the boys. Bill Mott, credit him for taking advantage of a turf course that came up with a little give in it. Beat and won that grade 3 with anticipation last time.
Well, what he did that other trainers didn't think to do was he entered in both the girls' race, the P.G. Johnson the day before, and this race because there was weather like there was the whole summer, and he thought, I want to run her and get that race into her. I don't care if she runs against the boys or girls. So what happened? The P.G. Johnson got rained off, and she ends up being, if not the favorite, one of the favorites in this race and getting it done. I thought she had a lousy trip in the Miss Grillo and didn't run nearly as badly as it looked. And something went wrong in the Breeders' Cup. You could see that she just wasn't running. Obviously, it's taken a while to get her back to the races. She's pretty good and drew well on the inside. But there are a lot of interesting players in this Wild Applause. Kind of a fun, deep race.
You know, a lot of times, too, you say closing sprinters are not as effective stretching out. She won her debut dead close at 5.5 furlongs sprinting on the turf, and then she stretches out and wins, beating the boys. Excited to see her come back.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see that more, obviously, with the 2-year-olds debut when they, 5.5 furlongs come up just to get them started. But I agree. She's able to have that closing kick, long or short. Glad to see her back in there. She is not the favorite on the line. That's oversubscribed. And I will say, oversubscribed disappointed last time, but she had a significant excuse in this race.
And here's her race against the filly who beat her, Masanga. Oversubscribed, I should say, for Chad Brown, was a 4-5 favorite in this one.
Well, first of all, Makenga was able to control on the front end and had a huge advantage. And it's not as though she's a slouch and she's a player again in here. But right in here, you're going to see her run off the heels of the number 5 who comes back into her. And this is a severe steady. This is not a horse that sort of, got a quarter of a length or something. That's 2 to 3 lengths. And it came at a pivotal moment when she was just beginning a rally behind a horse that had everything her own way on the front end. And now at this point, she's just hopelessly behind, and she really kicks it in. And while she just narrowly gets second, she's trying to do it on the inside. She's trying to do it in a race where the pace was not coming apart, where she had significant trouble. And I think it's fair to say, if she didn't have that trouble, it would have been a lot closer than it was. And I think oversubscribed might be another good one for these connections. A European as well.
Yeah, that was talk about a compromised trip.
Yeah.
No question in there. So that is coming up on our weekend coverage. Wild Applause race 10 on that Saturday card, 5:13 Eastern. We will have it live for you. And we look forward to who takes that step forward from 2 to 3. A lot of these are just getting started now in that 3-year-old campaign. Some making the first start of the year, like Galibrand. Here's the stakes schedule of what we have remaining before we head up to some racetrack upstate.
Yeah, but the Manila, which is the male counterpart of Mile, has produced some pretty good horses. Bricks and Mortar had a very exciting win in this race back in 2017. Casa Creed actually lost this race to Win Win Win, who went on to win the Forgo and the Dirt and ended up having that $1.8 million 2-year-old. Manila's come up a very strong race, so looking forward to seeing his running in that race as we head towards Saratoga when they stretch out to the longer Derby races we run, or up there a race like the Hall of Fame, which is $1.5 million in Saratoga.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back much more on the 6th when we return. Very wide open turf sprint. And Linda Rice, she'll be represented in this race coming up, fighting for yet another meet title. In the hunt when we come back. Stay with us.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Spandarella could not have been more impressive.
The sun shines bright on this value sire.
Fair down 25, fair down 25, fair down. Thank you. Right here, 525,000.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
Nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness.
At the line, War of Will, that's a photo for the win. Hey, 650,000.
War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
When I go to the barn in the morning and train horses that I'm excited about running, that's what drives me. Winning races, whether it be a claiming race or a stakes race or a Grade 1 at Saratoga, it's so much more fun than losing. Okay guys, Jose, I'm ready for the first one. Go ahead, we're going from the half out 5/8. My father, he was a hard worker, and he was very ambitious, instilled a strong work ethic in my 3 brothers and myself, and he had a love for the horses his whole life, and he instilled that in us as well.
It's double booked in front.
My first good horse was a horse named Double Booked, a grass horse, when I started training at Monmouth Park, an affiliate of my father's named Ready Jet Go. But I would say that City Zip was a very good 2-year-old. I brought him here. He won all 3 2-year-old stakes here.
It's City Zip in front at the 16th. City Zip by 3.
He would be the horse that really helped move me along the path that I am on now.
He's going to win at Belmont.
I like to claim a lot of young horses with lightly raised horses that I think have both potential on their pedigree side and, of course, conformation. So that's been a big asset to my claiming, which has been probably in the last 5 years I've been doing more of.
Voodoo Song digs in. Is he going to do it? He is! Voodoo Song won the 4-star Dave!
New York racing is, frankly, it's my home. I've been here for quite a few years. I have gone from a young trainer that was struggling to climb the ladder to being a mainstay in New York. And I think by not diluting my business at different venues. I think it's been helpful for me to be successful right here in New York. I'm all about New York racing. My father always said, well, he didn't want to die in a harness. And I think about that sometimes, but I don't know what my day would be like if I didn't have horses to train or to be around or to be excited about. Linda Rice. I'd like them to say she was one hell of a horse trainer, and she earned it.
Been incredible the run that Linda Rice has been on. 5 straight meet titles, ending in that tie on the very last race of the meet at Saratoga with Chad Brown, and now could come down to a similar Saratoga ending with Linda Rice and Chad Brown tied here again.
She runs them where they can win. I mean, she's a terrific trainer. I don't disagree with that, but she runs her horse where she can win, and that's so much of it. By the way, you know, in that game of which one of these things is not like the other, Mr. Wolfendale in there with a big meet with 6 wins.
How about that? Yeah,
Yeah,
very good meet. Now, it's got a big chance as well in the nightcap.
Absolutely, and Tom Sawyer's been running. I mean, I thought the Big Torpedo, I mean, he
sensational.
was very, very impressive. Very nice horse. He's had some horses run extremely well. He's also got the Donegal horse for the Donegal horse broke his maiden with a 90 figure. I think he's due to come back soon. Donegal Momentum in his non-winners of 1 horse that we could see some big things from him going forward. I hope so.
Yeah, Big Torpedo was cutting back to sprinting and had to wait for room and just was dominant, winning that spectacular bid division New York Stallion Series for Tom Morley. Right now, the 6th coming up, sprinting on the grass. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
One day, Andy, he'll get you for calling him Mr. Wolfendale. I think he's had enough of it after 10 years of marriage. Well, nearly 10 years. Anyway, let's take a look at horses here in the paddock. Number 2, Quiescent. She could be the speed of the speed in here, but she's going to have to go back to the turf. And I know she's run okay on the turf, but for me, she is that quintessential off-track runner. Those tiny little deer-like hooves that seem to cut through the wet very, very well. And while she looks fantastic here, and I like the fact that she does have that early speed, I just don't know if she's as good on the turf as she is, you know, in that last race, which was off the turf over a sloppy sealed racetrack. Moving on to number 3, Laconia. I think she's a really interesting proposition here for Jose Delgado, as she has 1 turf race showing as a 2-year-old at Monmouth, in which I don't know why they didn't do anything, but she literally beat the gate. I mean, she pushed the doors open and out broke the field, and she kind of, after doing that, ran off going the 2-turn mile on the turf. So I think she's worth another shot here. Looking at her, she looks turf meant, especially with the cutback and distance, because as we've seen on the synthetic, she is more of a sprinting type. She looks well suited to this surface. Very slack pasterns, massive foot to her, and she's a massive filly. In my estimation, she's probably done very well from 2 to 3, and I think she's definitely worth another shot here at 7-1, moving back to this surface. Moving on to some trying the turf for the first time, including number 6, First Class Cat for Linda Rice. There is some turf pedigree. Ironically, West Coast, despite him being a flatter, he has thrown some horses that are okay on the turf. And the Dam, she was 3 for 11 on the turf, albeit going long though, and none of the siblings have been that good on the turf. And looking at her, well, she really looks fantastic, but she is one that generally makes a great impression every time she's led over. I just don't see turf, but I get where Linda was probably daughter with the claim. We'll see what she does here, as we'll also take a look at number 9, Status Seeker for Rudy Rodriguez, daughter of Upstart. The Dam only had 1 turf try. She handled it, but this is a have to close the game. Sugar, who's a stakes winner on turf, but also upset the field in the Churchill Downs on Derby weekend on the dirt. So a versatile type of horse. And looking at Status Seeker, I actually think she'll like the turf. She has a flat hoof, very kind of angular type of pastern to her. I think she's intriguing getting to this surface, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Yeah, Andy and I both thought plenty of turf pedigree. Second Dam was also a turf winner sprinting, not to mention that stakes winner, won at Saratoga.
No, I think that she's a very live horse trying the turf for the first time. I even think Pebble Lane, who's a gigantic price on the outside. I mean, they're not fast, but Dan produced 3 turf winners out of 4 to try it. So I don't see why this horse is 20 to 1 because horses like Quiescent, Speed, and the 10 Literite, they're okay, but they've had their chances.
Post 2 for Rosemary Potatoes to kick off the post parade.
She is the weaker half of an entry that's taking money.
Post 11 for Miss Bonnie T, who's going to try really a 6 furlong sprint for the first time on the turf.
Yeah, you like her more than I do, but I see what you're saying. I mean, her good turf races are better than these. Can she still run them, and can she do it at this distance?
Quiescent Orlando Nota second off the claim.
She's probably the speed of the speed, but we'll see if any of the first-time turfers have speed to run with her. I am skeptical. She's also getting bet off a big win at a biased track.
Laconia had 1 try on turf, second start of her career was at a mile.
Maggie's argument, though, is she's improved as a racehorse. We'll see if that's the case.
Shoop, there it is at 49 to 1, biggest price on the board.
Her only turf start was going long, and she did not run well that day. We'll see if sprinting is better.
Amy's Light, first try on grass.
The dam did win 1 of 10 starts on the turf. This is her first foal.
Another turf debut, and this is the Linda Rice runner.
And Linda Rice, off the claim, first-time turf, 1 for 15, and there's not a lot of turf pedigree.
Bend Sunny Island, back-to-back wins sprinting on the turf at Monmouth.
Listen, at least this horse has won on the turf, which a lot of these horses can't say, and she's done it turf sprinting, but against lesser.
Definitely a little bit of form on grass, even though it hasn't won.
It was 70s back in 2022. She ran some figs. The problem is her form has declined precipitously.
Status Seeker, that price starting to come down.
Yeah, listen, I thought she was interesting. I was looking for alternatives here, and we'll see what price she is trying the turf first time.
Here's Linnerite. She's going to come from far out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Linnerite's, I think, is the horse to beat. She is the best races, but I don't love a closing style when a horse is a short price.
2 to 1 with that running style.
Yeah, in this big field.
Here's Pebble Lane, outside post, first time on turf.
You want a bomb with a little bit of pedigree? She's your horse.
Romero Mirage rides. It's going to be the first start since March of last year. As we get a look here at Linnerite for David Donk, Johnny V will ride. This was back on May 18th, most recent effort, and as usual, trying to make a run from far back.
And, you know, she drew the rail in this race, so with no maneuvering, she was able to at least save ground in here, but as usual, it left her with way too much to do. This was a race that was dominated towards the front end, so, you know, she was helped by she was hurt a little by the dynamics, but that's going to be the case in a lot of turf sprints. You know, you're hurt by the dynamics. And she's had her share of chances, but she's also run races fast enough to win it, and she's a logical horse, if not overly appealing. But Quiescent now 2 to 1.
How do you make
Quiescent.
Anyone in this race that price?
I can't. And I think the problem, if you like Quiescent here, and I don't, I picked her, well, that's not fair. I picked her third. I think she can win. I never thought she'd be this price. They're betting her off her last race, and her last race is basically phony. There was enormous rain, which created a huge speed track, and she just broke out of the gate and opened up, and they couldn't catch her. It's an aberrant effort. Look at her other turf races. Now, maybe some will say, well, maybe she improved for the Notas, and maybe she did, and if she can show that improvement and run back to her first turf race, she can win. If at 2 to 1, no, thank you.
Way too big a price on this horse right here, would you agree? 18 to 1 on Bend Sunny Island?
Yes and no. Probably is. She's run some reasonable races. The problem is, are her best races even good enough? And Greg, you brought up a good point, I thought, to me earlier. These are 5s and 5.5s. She's got to do it at 6 here, but she's not a speed type. I mean, yeah, at least she has credible races, so you're right. 20 to 1 is probably too big a price, but she's also exposed enough to say maybe she's just not good enough.
Her comeback race, first of her 5-year-old campaign, it was off the turf at Delaware. So now she gets back on her preferred surface for the first time for her 5-year-old return. Let's go back down to Maggie.
I've got to say, the afternoon's really taken a nice turn as that win. It's so nice being close to the water on these warm days here at Aqueduct. I'm coming to learn because it's the first time we've been at Aqueduct this late into the summer. But you get this afternoon breeze off Jamaica Bay, and it is blissful. As we'll take a look at some bombs in here, including number 8, Devilly. And I'm sure you're like, what? She's really going off the reservation here. As Devilly, I've never seen her look this good, ever. She usually kind of, pardon my description, she kind of looks like a woolly pony, like a child's little pony that has yet to shed out their coat. well, she shed out her coat. She looks leaner and fitter than I've ever seen her. And to be fair, I know she's 0 for 11 on the turf, but she's run a figure way, way back when that can make her competitive here. So, like I said, it's a shot in the dark, but I've also never seen her look this good. As the 11 Pebble Lane in here, as you heard Andy talk about the pedigree, I can see her taking to it. She's very angular in her frame, kind of that typical turf body that you see. And on top of that, considering the long time away from the races, she looks incredibly fit as you could possibly ask a horse to appear coming back off such a layoff here for Dave Duggan, taking the blinkers off, nice and relaxed. Good disposition, too, for this first start back, Greg.
21-1, Maggie, thank you. On the outside, Pebble Lane, first try on turf. There is pedigree for it, as Andy mentioned. And the 8, catching Maggie's eye, 37-1, who, in the past had run some decent tries on the grass.
Listen, I'm not going to knock a big price horse. I think that's one thing Maggie can do with sort of horses that may not be good enough necessarily to win. But they can run better than their odds. And as you say, she'd run well. Now, the races that she ran well in were primarily longer races, but she does have one race, turf sprinting, where she ran a 77 buyer. So who knows? Maybe she'll run that race today. I'm certainly not knocking a big price here, and I thought you made a good point earlier and a couple times that if this pick 6 blows up, this is far and away the likeliest race for it to happen.
You would think.
They're just, do you really think Quiescent and Linerite are great bets at 2-1 and 5-2? They may run 1-2, but it just feels like neither one of them is reliable enough to suggest that a short price on them is particularly appealing. And I picked them second and third, so I'm not suggesting I don't like their chances. I just think that their short prices are not appealing from betting standpoint, and find somebody a little more interesting.
You're a little surprised Status Seeker didn't take a little more support?
I think a big field here, it's hard. And, when you've got 2 horses like this that have separated from the field, you're talking about 2 horses that together are taking well over half the pool. Well, where are the other 10 horses going to go, right? Or the other 9 horses going to go? They're going to be big prices. Your entry is 8-1.
Yeah.
And the 1A Miss Bonnie T, you make a case for her. We don't know if she'll be efficient going 6 furlongs. We don't know if for recent form, maybe she needed her last race. She's got figures that would drown this field consistently.
She does. Figures as good as Linerite, who's the 2-1 favorite right now. See what happens here in this competitive 6 furlongs, sprinting on the grass. Favorite, the 10, who will need a trip and maybe a hot pace up front for David Donk to try and get just the second win of her career with John Velasquez aboard. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
2 out. First Class Cat and Pebble Lane. Still waiting on Amy's Light. Front of the gate open here for the 5. Amy's Light stepping in. Now in. First Class Cat. Pebble Lane. Pebble Lane, last alone. And in. All set. And they're off. Good speed from Amy's Light in between horses, but quickest, here comes Quiescent. Quiescent right out to the front and sprints clear, is up by a length and a half. Now First Class Cat is stalking from second, but the leader is well clear. At third, and at the rail it's Laconia. Just off of them, breaking on top was Amy's Light, who's back to 4th. There in 5th is Ben Sunny Island. Now a shared 6, Rosemary Potatoes and Miss Bonnie T. Also trying to move forward there in between horses. Shoot, there it is. Outwiders Pebble Lane. In between horses there in that tight spot is Devilly, who's trying to make up ground. Second to last is Lina Wright and the trailer. Status Seeker, 21 and 4. Quiescent is well clear, and Quiescent's doing it nicely so far, is still up by a length and a half. Quiescent is the target. Here under drive is Laconia. Once off the rail is ready to chase. First Class Cat is right there as well. Miss Bonnie T is trying to range up on the outside as they reach the top of the lane. Quiescent's still there. Laconia is trying to catch with every stride, and here comes Laconia in between horses after the leader. Laconia is taking the lead. Miss Bonnie T is trying to rally on. First Class Cat is right there from the back, also trying to rally on Amy's Light. Laconia is almost there inside the final 16th. Laconia is in front. Laconia is looking for the line. Laconia gets there. That was Lina Wright flying on there to be in the photo, but it was a close second. Amy's Light finished 3rd, photo for 4th. Then 1 minute 9 and 3.
Laconia, the win under Manny Franco, 6-1. And Lannerite, another good race, but again, as so often happens, so far out of it, winds up second.
He's got 2 horses beaten, turning for home, and it's just too much to do, and one of them was basically ease. Good call by Maggie on this horse. Got an absolutely perfect trip under Manny Franco, and just able to hold off Lannerite, who just had too much to do to get it done. She has improved as a racehorse, as Maggie suggested, and she proved in the racetrack. He hasn't fast out of the gate, but it doesn't really matter.
First time sprinting on the turf. After the second start of her career, she went a mile on grass after a dirt debut. Maybe she's found what she finally wants to do here. Trained by Jose Delgado, Manny Franco. And Laconia at 6-1 to start off the pick 4.
Yeah, and this horse can spice up the pick 6 a little bit if you used her, or the late pick 5. Gets a perfect trip and gets it done. Lannerite just ran out of real estate.
65-1 shot, by the way, completing the trifecta.
First timer on the turf. That little tough to make, but a first time on the turf. This one was the one that ran of the firsters on the turf. The 5.
So Laconia, Delgado barn, Manny Franco. Answers with those 2 early wins from Arat Ortiz Jr. And the lead back up to 6 for the jockey title here.
Manny's not giving it away.
He's not even close.
What has he got after today? 10 more days? It'll be hard.
Long way to go.
But I'm banking on Manny. Well, Irad's not riding here Saturday.
Got to take advantage of those days, no question. 3-10, 5-1A, 6-1 upset, Laconia. We will have the prices when we come back. We'll look at what's happened across the pond at Royal Ascot. A couple of champs that won the Breeders' Cup making their return. Big Evs, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint winner, and August Rodin for Aidan O'Brien, Breeders' Cup Turf winner, back in action in the Princess of Wales. Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Hill and Dale at Alapa. Where the obscure becomes obvious. We just saw Laconia 6-1. Jose Delgado, Manny Franco. Nice selection. Maggie Wolfendale here.
No, an excellent call by her, and of course, that really ran. He has clearly improved his game. She has, excuse me. I kind of missed it. She couldn't have got a better trip. And, you know, it's just that the difference between her and Linnerite is that she's able to put herself in better position, these turf sprints, and Linnerite just too much to do. And Linnerite just
made up a ton of ground.
Missed getting there. Just missed. Yep. When she was by a head, this got close. How close this got.
She was on her toes in the post parade.
Neck,
a few jumps past the wire, she was in front. But that's not what counts. Laconia, $15.40 for the victory. And again, a first-time turf for Amy's Light. 65-1 to help that trifecta. It disappeared on me too quick, but had to be pretty good.
I think it was big.
Pick 5. Hittable?
I was alive to 5 horses. I didn't use Laconia. I somehow managed to get the first 4
Biggest
winners.
number in this pick 6 carryover was still
I missed her.
Halfway home at this point. But if you're alive, say, well, we finally got one and beat a favorite in here as we move along. 7th race, 6 furlongs, state bred, $30,000 maiden claiming race. And another one where there's some possibilities to be favorites.
Yeah, I'm going to use 3 horses here and some late pick 3s. I'm going to use the 1, 2, and 6. I want to use horses that have never run a maiden claiming race on dirt. Both the 1 and 2 have never been in maiden claiming races, and the 6's only maiden claiming race was on the turf. I want the new faces, not the ones that had their chances.
All right, well, more in this race coming up in a little bit. Let's jump across the pond as we tease going to break. Take a look at what's happened out at Royal Ascot. King Charles III Stakes. And Big Ev's back in action, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint winner, but not to be as the favorite as Fora gets the win.
And this race was formerly known as the King's Stand, now the King Charles. And Big Ev's, to me, was massively overbet on 6-5, and even said that on Twitter. And the winner, look at the run the winner is making from well behind, and even the second place finisher, who's going to run by Big Ev's, made a big run as well. But this was a pretty impressive performance by the winner in here. It was in very good form. Big Ev's ran fine, but I don't know, a 3-year-old in here at 6-5 seemed a little overbet to me.
Australian winner, who is now a 9-time winner on the lawn.
I think the Australian sprinters are considered some of the best turf sprinters in the world, and really a bigger edge than the horses coming from Europe. They don't even necessarily have a big edge over our horses, our turf sprinters. They certainly don't have an edge over Cogburn. I don't know if any turf sprinter has an edge over that horse.
That was incredible what that horse did. Sub 1 minute.
He was fast.
5.5.
And it wasn't even like a super hard course either, you know?
The Breeders' Cup Turf winner, August Rodin, returning in the Prince of Wales' Stakes and racking up another victory. 8 wins from 13 career starts and came into this race, 5.7 million, with this win.
Kind of a workman-like win for him against a relatively subpar field. The key in here was obviously Innsbruck had no real chance. Not only did she do no running in her return race, winning at 1.25 miles in America is very different than winning at 1.25 miles over in Europe on more demanding courses. Not her distance, and I'm beginning to wonder if Innsbruck would have been better off having been retired. Second place finisher, way too big a price at 37-1. A horse that had been favored actually in a race coming into this one and had run poorly, but had run a big race 2 races back, getting it done. But August Rodin back in the winner's circle, I would say, though, a workman-like win. I don't know the reason that White Birch, who had beaten him easily the time before that, did not run, but he benefited from that one not being in the race.
Ryan Moore aboard for the win for Aidan O'Brien. Meanwhile, very intriguing 2-year-old Jose D'Angelo Gabaldon.
Okay.
Who won first time out at Gulfstream, going 5 furlongs, opened up to a big lead, weakens in the final stages. Ain't Nobody, the win of the Windsor Castle.
Then we saw the George Weaver horse come to Ascot and win off that race at Gulfstream. And somehow this horse for Jose D'Angelo ran a very, very good second to Ain't Nobody here. Terrific effort, and congrats to him running second. But that is no mean achievement. It is tough over there.
Ain't Nobody now 2 for 2 with a debut win.
Almost got there.
At Carlisle. Pretty convincing win.
Yeah, very, very, very nice performance.
Jamie
though, by the
Spencer
second
aboard.
Jamie Spencer getting it done. I mean, for me, the Ascot races are fun to watch. Almost as entertaining as watching people from America thinking they know how to pick the Ascot races. Good luck, man. They are tough.
These fields.
They're fun. They're
phenomenal.
fun, but they're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Incredibly difficult. Try and come up with some of these winners. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back, and we'll shine a light on one of our favorites, Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, taking care of the athletes who entertain us once their careers on the racetrack are over.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.
Connect, a Grade 1 winning millionaire, making his mark as a sire with Rattle and Roll, a Grade 1 winning 2-year-old, and multiple graded stakes winner. Graded stakes winning 2-year-olds Hidden Connection, and Whitwater's Rand. Graded stakes winning 3-year-old Implicated. Connect, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred Racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
We are so happy to be here in Chestertown, New York, at the beautiful home of Heather and Joe Rio, their daughter Hazel, and one of the luckiest horses I've ever met, Dusk to Dawn.
Dusk to Dawn turns for home with a 5-length lead.
2018 was the first summer that we brought horses up to Saratoga. We called it our TRF Saratoga Summer Farm, and we brought 4 or 5 horses up from the Wallkill Correctional Facility. Dusky was one of them.
I asked Joe, can we please go see the horses? I'd love to go see horses for my birthday.
We had a lot of people visiting. It was all about introducing our herd ambassadors, but then this sort of magical connection established.
It was love at first sight when I saw him running through that paddock. So my husband Joe turned to me and just said, I see it in your face. You're in love with Dusky. For your birthday, I want to get you a horse. I started crying in the barn. I'm like, I'm around all these people. So I found a barn in Fort Anne, about 20 minutes from us. But I had my daughter, and COVID happened. And they locked down barns, and you couldn't go to the barns freely to go visit. And that's when I really started thinking, I want him home. I need him home with me so I can be there.
Was this arena here? Was that barn here?
No, so we found the house and we ended up having an excavator come in and clear the land, bring in sand, and Joe built all the fencing around, found a place to build the barn.
I would call this the house that Dusky built.
Yes, definitely.
Did you have any idea that it was just down the road from where Dusky had been born?
I knew that Dusky was a Chestertown Farms racehorse. Had no idea we were moving to the same street that he was actually born on.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
You know, a couple miles down the road.
It, to me and to all of us at the TRF, is an example of a fairy tale ending.
The most fun part to me is being able to show my daughter the lifestyle of having a horse, teaching her how to clean the barn. She loves throwing the shavings down and sweeping up and giving Dusky lots of treats. You know, being able to give her back what my dad gave to me.
When a family adopts a horse from the TRF herd, they not only adopt one, they save two by making a space in our herd where we can take another horse into our care. You know your mommy is a hero for the horses? She is. And you're her little horsey helper. You're the hero helper. Is that right?
We love what they do. We're so appreciative of taking care of our equine athletes. Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. We say it all the time. You have a good day at the racetrack, though. Just give a little, give what you can. Doing great work of taking care of these equine athletes, and going to check in with Maggie now on what's ahead and what we can expect this summer from TRF.
Well, per usual, Greg, we have several events lined up at Saratoga to raise money and to also have fun while celebrating the horses. And it all kicks off on July 15th, Gumbo with Kendrick Carmouche, as he has honorably donated his time and his cooking skills for several years now to the TRF. That will take place at I was going to say Bella Principessa, but Principessa Elena Society there in the Arts District off Beekman Street. And then on July 31st is actually when the TRF teams up with the PDJF for the Casamigos event at the Adelphi Hotel. And then finally our signature event for TRF, that is the barbecue at the barn at the Saratoga Winery. Looking forward to that, as I said, on August 20th. So, Greg, we are also going to have a TRF team at the Real Riders Cup in September at Fair Hill. So looking forward to that too.
Oh, busy summer coming up for Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. So we look forward to some of those big events and hopefully get some coverage on the program coming up this summer. If you could be part of the action as well, do what you can if you're visiting Saratoga this summer.
Yeah, and there's so many other good causes in general for horse retirement, and it's great to see as it gets a bigger and bigger role in racing, taking care of the horses that give us so much.
All right, let's get back to the action. Race 7 coming up. State bred, $30,000 maiden claiming 6 furlong sprint on the main track. 9-5 right now on a filly who took that drop in class last time out, and here she is, Nay Jude. She did not get the job done at a short price.
She's Irad Ortiz fans only for me. I mean, obviously she could win here, and she was off a layoff last time, but she was supposed to win last time. This was an extraordinarily hungry field. The Winter Book of Wisdom was a 0 for 9 who had failed at one short price after another. The race kind of collapsed. She had a perfect trip coming up the rail, and I think the key to her performance and how sort of mediocre it was that Steppenhawk, who's 0 for 21, who was quitting, the horse in front, she actually came back on and narrowly lost second by a head to her. And Steppenhawk's had a lot of chances. Steppenhawk is currently 14-1, and Nay Jude is 8-5. Now, I understand Nay Jude's had less chances, and she is a more likely winner. But I got to tell you, I thought this was a singularly unimpressive performance by her, and that's why I'm going to go to the new faces. I like the number 1 in here, Shehana, and I'm going to use the 2 and the 6 as well. And I think the 2, Indecente, is a crazy price at 14-1.
And meanwhile, the 6, my kind of mischief.
No.
Speed against better, dropping in class, and a very quick work. And that's maybe a lot of the reason why this filly's taking a lot of money. 10-1 morning line, down to 9-2.
I'm guessing Carlos Martin likes her today. Just a guess.
Could be the case. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look and start with a runner that is dropping in class down on the rail, which I was talking to Horacio De Paz earlier when he won with Smokin' Hot Kitty, and he was lamenting the fact that I drew the rail, because she is one that could show a bit more speed than what we saw from her in that debut sprinting on the dirt, as she does turn back after and switch back to the main track after the turf try. She just makes a really, really nice impression. She is well muscled. She's really strong behind the saddle, and I think sometimes it's all about who you're facing. And against this field, she does look, at least looking at her physically, superior. She does wear those short cup cheater blinkers. And speaking of blinkers, we'll see the same exact pair go on number 5, going for Glory today, as she's kind of second off of a layoff, but she looks incredibly fit. I know questioning, the quality of that field, as she has been primarily participating in maiden claimers throughout her career, but she's just another one that made a really nice impression on me, and maybe the blinkers on will help her, as she did get Lasix for the first time in her last start. So just kind of building up the additions race by race. Moving on to a first-time starter, which sometimes is appealing in these races. That's number 7, Bella Banker, daughter of Central Banker, does strike at 13% with his 3-year-old and up debuters, and she's actually half to a sibling who won first time out in a New York bred maiden claimer. So at least we know she can get the job done, or at least she's bred to be able to get the job done early. I just wish she looked stronger. She looks very fit from a leanness perspective, but that top line and those hindquarters, they're lacking a bit, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. 9-1 right now. Bella Banker. And here they come. Eric Cancel, there he is. He's going to ride that first-time starter for Mark Hennig.
And she is a half to horse that did win its debut and got a 37 buyer. And while this field's a little wanting, I think the final figure will be over 37, but we'll see. I get what Maggie's saying. I agree. And she's not saying she's picking the 7. She's just saying, I can see you want to look at first-time starters. I mean, I want to look at fuzzies. How about even the bottom horse? Who ran once for Linda Rice and took some money and now comes back for Michelle Giangulio. I don't even think that horse is totally impossible. Yeah. I just want to stay away from the 9. If that horse wins at a short price, I'm going to lose.
Yeah, the 11 took money first time out. You look at it and go, well, it was Linda Rice. Of course the horse was going to take money. But also sloppy sealed track, so first opportunity to try or to run on a dry track.
And a lot of her first-time starters need a race. So maybe that's, not the case. That horse was ready. So I could see that horse being a little bit interesting as a fuzzy.
And that's who will ride Princess Becca, who we were just talking about, Luis Rivera Jr. In your screen right now at 9-1 for the Warnick stable. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting runners in these state-bred maiden 30 races. Sometimes they're not too appealing. This one, I think, is.
I like this one, and particularly because the 9 is 8-5. And listen, if Nejude wins, I'm not going to be shocked, but I'm going to lose and be okay with it. So horse that just really has had his chances, and I think she should have won last time out. With Shehana, the horse in the rail, she made one start in the dirt, and it wasn't a particularly special effort, but frankly, it was good enough to win here, and it was against much better horses. They tried long in the turf. I like the cutback, and unlike Horacio, I don't care about drawing the rail. I don't understand trainers constantly complaining about rails, drawing the rail. If you look at the statistics, it is not a bad post to draw. And sometimes it sort of simplifies things. She's not going to be able to keep up with the 6 and 10 early, but just go forward, and maybe she's sitting third behind those 2 horses.
Here comes our post parade. We'll start with Horacio De Paz filly. Again, long on the turf, start number 2, now cuts back to sprinting on dirt.
Yeah, she's finding a much softer spot in her getting back to the dirt than her debut.
Next door, and a class dropper in for a tag for the first time.
Yeah, I think this is a horse that also faced much better in 2 races. Didn't do a lot of running, but I thought she was a little interesting at a price.
Out of the Cloud, 31-1. It's the biggest price on the board.
Tough to make a case for this horse based on the races that she has run in the dirt.
Maxing the bank is a scratch, going for Glory. This one second at the level last start.
She just sucked up and picked up the pieces. Maybe she'll do it again. I'd rather bet her at 5-1 than the 9 at 8-5. I'll tell you that.
This was the one I went with. My Kind of Mischief. Speed against better. Blinkers going on and a drop in class.
If she doesn't get buried by the 10 Stepanock, she is very dangerous. I agree with you.
Dylan Davis rides. Next door, Bella Banker. No pilot.
For what it's worth, Mark. Oh, well, I don't think we have to worry about her. She won't add to Mark being over 13 with firsters and maiden claimers in dirt sprints.
Yeah, be shocked if she was not scratched after that. We'll see. Here's the favorite, Nejude, Irad Ortiz Jr.
I mean, you want to bet this horse, you're paying a dear price for getting Irad Ortiz.
And Stepanock. Here's Romero Mirage, 0-21.
7-year-old maiden has a lot of speed. At the very least, she's going to probably get in the way of the 6.
And Princess Becca, 8-1. Debuted with Linda Rice, now with Michelle Giangulio.
She is the fuzzy. I mean, she did not run a particularly good field first time out, but she, who knows? You want to give her a pass for a sloppy track race, go ahead.
All right,
I guess Eric Hansel feels the 7 is going to be scratched.
Let's go to Maggie for an update.
Yeah, we haven't gotten an official word yet with regards to number 7 in here, but she flipped over so quickly. I looked at her going onto the track, I looked away, and the next thing I know, Eric's on the ground. He was able to push away from her so to avoid being landed on by her, and I asked him, and he is A-okay. But yes, because she flipped over like that, Greg, she is likely to be a scratch. Just waiting on official word here from the stewards, guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you for the update. So Bella Banker, a scratch, comes out. That debut will have to wait for trainer Mark Hennig, as the 8-5 favorite remains Nay Jude, who certainly was not overwhelming in that drop in class to this level last start.
Maybe there's just a lot of Beatles fans. You got Nay Jude, the damn Juju eyeballs. I don't know how you look at this race and think, I want to take 8-5 on Nay Jude. I just don't get it. She had an easy trip last time. I feel like she should have won last time. Maybe she'll win today, but I think 8-5 is a disastrously low price to take on this horse.
Well, another look at this 6. She is quick, and she already was quick, showing speed against better. They make an equipment change. They want to put blinkers on, and you see that latest work, presumably with that equipment change. Quickest of 113 runners in the morning, going 4 furlongs.
I would like her a lot more if Steppenhawk wasn't in the race. Steppenhawk may not be a winning type, but she's quick. And I think potentially she gets in her way. I think your reasoning is very sound on her. I can understand why you like her, and I'm guessing Carlos likes her a lot as well. I just worry that the 10 is going to get in her way. That's my biggest concern with her. And I picked her second.
See what happens. She did show turf sprint speed last time out, which is usually greater than dirt sprint speed of Steppenhawk.
Oh, she's quick, but so is Steppenhawk.
See how it plays out with more on My Kind of Mischief. Let's go downstairs to Maggie again.
And now My Kind of Mischief, number 6 in here, is third off of a layoff. Last time I saw her, she was a little bit nervous. That was 2 starts ago, coming in off the break. Now really calm, really relaxed, and very fit in here. The problem for me, and again, when you're in against this type of field, sometimes this stuff doesn't matter, is that there wasn't much progression from 2 to 3. She was a good-looking 2-year-old, but it just plateaued. So we'll see what she does, and I agree that with those blinkers on and closing her in just a little bit, not extensively with the headgear, but maybe we do see her get confident whilst on the front end, as we do see number 7 now, Bella Banker. She has been apprehended and making her way into the paddock to be held for this race to be run, and she'll walk back over. Still not officially off the board, though. Don't know what the deal is with that. Okay. Number 11, Princess Becca, will make her first start off of a layoff for Michelle Giangiulio, first time for the barn. But I wasn't in the paddock for that October 20th debut as a 2-year-old, so I don't know what she looked like before to compare her to. But she's very fit. I mean, Michelle looks as though she has not left any stone unturned here in preparations to get this filly back to the races today. And as Andy pointed out, did take some money. So she gives the impression that there could be some ability there. And I'm not going to be surprised when she jumps up and runs far better than that first race, which suggests, because Greg, she looks ready.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Minute to post. Shahana from the rail. Both Maggie and Andy's selection here at 5-1 with a drop in class as we look at this 11. And certainly one to give a look to as well.
She's taking a little sneaky money to be 9-1, giving her a debut as the number 6 continues. She actually was 7-2, went back to 4-1. Interesting race, actually. I mean, I know it's a lower level maiden claiming race, but I actually agree with you. This is not your run-of-the-mill one. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in here, as the 6 now is the second choice at 7-2. And I imagine, as you pointed out, a lot of it may have to do with that workout. You know? I mean, not the drop down, other reasons, but the workout, I think, is a big part of that.
Yeah. May have been a pretty good one. There she is. Dylan Davis for Carlos Martin. An equipment change, throw it off the bench. And in terms of the dirt racing, first time in for a tag. And that big bullet, quickest of anyone in the morning drill last time out. And Dylan Davis will hop off to let the starting gate crew get her in. And then he'll hop back aboard. Nine to 5 favorite. Nay Jude now 8-5.
They love Irad.
As usual, 5-time Eclipse Award winning rider getting over bet. Often the case here in New York as Dylan Davis hops back aboard the speedster. My Kind of Mischief. Keep your eyes on that pace stool early too with the 6 and the 10 Steppenhawk. And if one of those two can get an advantage early. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Going for Glory. Princess Becca. The 7, a late scratch in today's 7th. Princess Becca. Goes in. All set. And they're up. Good speed from Princess Becca. Also, Steppenhawk is going to be in the early mix. And at the rail, there's Shahana. As they work up the backstretch, it's Princess Becca who's in front. In between horses now, pushing on through is My Kind of Mischief to challenge. Shahana is at the rail, is now a close-up 4th. Gets past to the outside by Steppenhawk is the gray who claims that 3rd position. Nay Jude is on the move from 5th. Down towards the inside in 6th is La Indecente, is followed by Going for Glory, who's now a shared 6th and 7th. Further back is the Triller. Out of the cloud. It's 2 across the racetrack now, head and head, 22 and 3 for the opening quarter mile. Steppenhawk to the outside of Princess Becca. They're a clear 1-2. Nay Jude has made up a lot of ground, and here comes Nay Jude just looming up on the outside. My Kind of Mischief looks to have run nowhere to go, is right there in that 4th spot as they reach the top of the stretch, and it's still Princess Becca who's got plenty. Princess Becca has sprinted clear quickly, is up by 3 lengths, and look at this. Princess Becca is now opening up here in the late stage. Was battling through those early fractions, but Princess Becca just striding away inside the final 16, no doubt. Princess Becca wins impressively. Princess Becca at 6-1. Nay Jude is in a photo there with an oncoming Going for Glory. Finishing 4th was Shahana in 1 minute 11 and 1.
This was dominant from Princess Becca. 3-year-old debut. New barn, Michelle Giangulio, and I don't know how many lengths she won by. A lot.
They knew. I mean, she was 9-1, then she was 8-1, and then she went to 6-1 at the end. And unlike other tracks, you don't see those big odds drops because you don't get the CAW play in the win pools. This was a they knew. I don't know what Dylan Davis's plan was with the 6, and maybe he was riding her instructions, but for a horse that has blinding speed, I'm not sure what was going on with that one. And this horse was able to clear the front in a relatively moderate pace. Didn't matter. They were never beating this horse, and this was a they knew of all time. And if you bet the 9 at 9-5, find a better horse to bet at a short price going forward. This was not a drop down, but this was a they knew.
Wrapped up late as well. That was just dominant from this daughter of Central Banker. Again at 6-1, 11-9, 5-1. Let's go back to the beginning and take a look at Nay Jude, the 9 out of the gate.
She's just a little bit sluggish, but the weird thing is here is Dylan's ride. If we can keep rolling this for a while.
On the 6, yeah.
It's like, was he told not to go? Because this was strange. I mean, it's like he clearly doesn't want to be in front. It's just sort of weird. And maybe he's just riding to instructions. This was surprising.
And almost pulling up right there.
I don't.
Takes himself completely out of it.
Maybe he was afraid of being dueling inside the 11, whatever. Maybe the horse was getting nothing regardless, and certainly wasn't being 11, so maybe it didn't really matter. But just sort of surprising.
Perplexing. Princess Becca, 6-1 winner with Luis Rivera Jr. by a lot of lengths. Takes out the crop there. Little reminder, and it was over at that point.
It was kind of over when this horse made the lead, to be honest with you. I mean, a horse that ran the way she did in her debut to end up making the lead in here is a little bit surprising. But she was just a different horse today in her second start. It's time for Michelle Giangulio.
Wow. 6-1, another upset here in this Pick 6 carryover. Prices for you when we come back. We're going to go back to the beginning of this afternoon. when we return after this timeout. The Beverly Steinman Hurdle Handicap. And a horse we know well on the circuit from flat racing back in the day. Stepping up with a Grade 1 victory. Stay with us.
The son of Run Happy, Nutella Fella, has won the Hopeful.
Eclipse champion Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to the program here on FS2. It's America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And if you bet Princess Becca, well, you got $15 right back if you spent $2 right back into your account. As I'm pleased to be joined by winning conditioner Michelle Giangiulio. And Michelle, Princess Becca, she just looked ready, and boy, was she ever.
Yeah, she's been doing really great. She really, since she came in, she's been pretty straightforward and really had no setbacks with her. She's been doing good. Had a little issue as a 2-year-old, got over it, and I was happy to get her in my barn.
Looking at the board, listening to you, you were kind of expecting her to show this early speed that she didn't have in her debut, but she had plenty of today.
Yeah, I mean, I only worked her the one time out of the gate, but she was very forward, worked really good, really finished strong, worked a fast work that day and finished really well. So I was expecting good speed from her today. You never know with these maiden 30s what they're going to do, but worked out really good. I love the post that we had. I was hoping, if they did send that we could sit clean, but she come out of there running, so it worked out good.
And Michelle, you mentioned the maiden 30s for the New York Breds. But with her, I feel like it's a little bit complicated now because she absolutely destroyed them. So where do you go with her?
I don't know. I guess we got to look. I mean, she's 3. There are a few options there. See what kind of number she ran today. I mean, she's eligible for the starter. We could try that. We'll talk with the owners and see what we want to do, but exciting for the summer.
Certainly a fun problem to have, Michelle, as I battle my hair here. Thank you for your time and congratulations. That looks like a promising little filly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Michelle Giangiulio had Princess Becca ready to rock and roll today, guys.
Exciting to see how she opened up, and this is the starting point for a 3-year-old campaign. So, see what's next for her. $15 for the win.
She got it done. How about the Exacta? $48 for $2. They knew. Somebody's made some good money on her. And listen, it's hard to, you get a horse to try to win a race, and you can try and think you got a live one, then you got to go out and do it. In this case, Princess Becca did, and this pick 6 got a lot more interesting. Good luck if you are alive.
With 2 legs remaining in our feature coming up next, 1 mile on the turf, allowance optional claiming field, where right now it's the 7 breath away for Christophe Clement, one of a couple he has in the race, favored at 8-5. You got a Chad Brown filly in the rail off the bench, Revelita.
Irad Ortiz is on the favorite?
Shocking, isn't it?
It's amazing. How is she favored? I'm surprised she's favored over Revelita, but I guess it's the Irad factor and just going to be favored on any horse that's close. You and I are going to try to upset the apple cart, though, with Towhead, too.
Yeah, we'll talk more about in just a little bit. We're going to go back to the beginning of this Thursday card and jump race, Grade 1. Beverly Steinman, named after someone who spent nearly 6 decades in steeplechase sport, longtime National Steeplechase Association board member, spearheaded so many changes in the game, including promoting safety and expansion. La Imperator, Arch Kingsley.
Your new best friend.
Yeah, well, I got the opportunity to meet. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival could not have been nicer, and L'Imperatore gets the win.
Yeah, no, and he got bet, huh? 2-1. They really liked him here. A nice stretch run, these 3 horses coming down the stretch, and nice to see a race named for Peggy Steinman, who's just been such a huge part of steeplechase racing, as you mentioned, and a fixture in Saratoga that I've been seeing my entire time of going to the racetrack.
Turns the tables on Rampoli Plan, who had been pretty dominant when they met in that Grade 1 Commonwealth Cup.
They knew today, didn't they? A little more distance.
Yeah.
Of course, there was an okay runner on the flat for Chad Brown a number of years ago as well. I think, did he win our Bernard Baruch, I want to say? I think he did.
May have been right with that.
Or maybe I bet him and he lost, but I thought he won it.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. Great to have a jump race, though, as we're going to have some of those kicking off our cards at Saratoga this summer. And I hope to see that one back in action. Maybe some more Grade 1 glory ahead. We're going to take a timeout. Flavien Prat, one of the absolute best in the business, continues to do his thing and right at the top of his game. See him coming up.
The rumblings started early and only intensified, with performances that sent shockwaves across the nation. At the center of it all,
Epicenter is at the top of the 3-year-old class in the Run Happy Travers.
Epicenter, 3-year-old champion by Not This Time. Coolmore America, home of champions.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
Twirling Candy, proving Lane's End's stallion-making tradition. Twirling Candy has seen success on the track and sales rate, siring multiple Grade 1 winners and millionaires, including Exalted, Beyond Brilliant, Gear Jockey, and reaching 7-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. By the legendary Candy Ride. Twirling Candy, a leader of his generation.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
French jockey Flavien Prat has experienced success everywhere he's gone. He had become one of the most prominent riders in California before moving his tack to the East Coast last spring.
4 straight graded stakes for Chad Brown and Flavien Prat. They're putting on a show.
Well, living in California was definitely not an easy decision. You don't want to be in the comfort zone and kind of, try to challenge yourself and see what would you do somewhere else. So that was my thought process, moving on the East Coast and riding with obviously a great colony of riders and different tracks. At that point, I thought it was the right thing to do.
Stepping out of his comfort zone is not something new for Prat.
I left home when I was 14 to get to the jockey school. I actually tried to leave when I was 13 and the school didn't accept me because I was too young. I think I cried for a whole day. Never been that sad in my life.
In fact, Prat's first introduction to horse racing wasn't with thoroughbreds.
I grew up in the harness business with my dad, who's a trainer. Now my brother was working with him. Obviously, when you see your dad, working from 5:30 to 1 p.m. and going back to the barn from 3 to 6, you learn what's hard work, and I just think it's an amazing way to live. In France, it can happen where there's a racetrack where half of the card will be harness and half would be thoroughbred. I love to go on the weekend with my dad and see the thoroughbred and then went a few times to Longchamp with my mom and some friends. So yeah, it's always been in the back of my mind.
Drugier, and she will deliver here, coming from off the pace under Flavien Prat.
By 2019, Prat had grabbed some of the attention of trainers nationwide, enough to get the call from Hall of Famer Bill Mott in America's most prestigious race, setting up the biggest moment of his riding career.
Obviously, we had seen that he was doing very well in California and was a good rider, and we put him on, and it couldn't have worked out better. What a great trip he worked out for him. He was 3 wide around the last turn, but he was able to avoid the contact that some of the other horses had on the inside of him. We actually did not get bothered. We took a slight little bump coming out of the turn, but really nothing that would have affected us one way or another. Then, of course, 24 minutes later, they hung our number up and made us the winner.
Winning the Derby was a strange experience. A lot of mix of emotion because obviously you win the Derby, so it's great, but it's by disqualification. There's always going to be some controversy, and yeah, I didn't cross the line first. And then you have to wait. We had to wait a long time before they decide to put Country House as a winner, so hopefully one day we'll cross the line first.
It's been a wild run with a lot of drama in the Kentucky Derby the last few years. Flavien Prat put up via DQ with Country House, and just one of the absolute best in this sport right now. He does everything great.
Great rider.
And making the move to the East Coast just fit in seamlessly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Chad Brown has sort of been championing his cause, trying to get him to come to the East Coast, and it's worked out so well for him, obviously. He's a terrific rider, riding in a great colony. And, it's interesting, getting placed first in the Derby, and I understand you don't get the exhilaration of crossing the wire first. You know what? You get the exhilaration of the check. When you get that check, it's the same if you finish second, got put up if you won.
Still, you understand where
of
these guys are coming from.
I'm kidding. I'm joking around. It's still, listen, a Derby win's a Derby win.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You're probably not going to get taken down in the Derby, but you get taken down in other races as well, and you get put up sometimes. In that case, he was legitimately put up. And as it turns out, when you look at the controversy that involved maximum security going forward, I think it's good he got disqualified in that case. Not only to commit a foul in the race, but considering the embarrassment his trainer put this sport through.
Yeah, no question. Another big one potentially in Flavien Prat's future after this performance in the Met Mile.
Yeah, it's interesting. He obviously buried the field. The race did not come back that fast. He's run faster races, and that bothers me a little bit. But it was also his first start since he ran in Saudi Arabia. So I'll give him another chance because you can imagine, and hopefully we will see him in the Whitney, where he can hook up with, well, I have to think Bright Future heading there. We'll see how First Mission, who I imagine is going to Stephen Foster, but I have to imagine things go well there. They'll want to run him, and it could be a really nice matchup. But he right now has to be considered one of the leaders, if not the leader, of the older horse division in this country. But a long way to go. Saudi Crown had his first work, by the way, I saw coming back.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did. He
incredibly fast horse for Brad Cox.
Ran super when he was third in that Saudi Cup, of which
Yeah.
National Treasure was fourth in. So looking forward to him getting back as well.
So, yeah, Whitney, next intended spot for National Treasure, last year's Preakness winner. Dominant in that Met Mile. I was surprised, too. I thought the number was going to come a lot bigger than as easily as he won that race. But
he's a good
we know he has bigger races in him.
Yes, he does.
Should we get back to today? Feature coming up. 8th race,
Whatever you want
mile
to
on the
get to.
turf.
Whatever you want to talk about, Greg. I'm game.
8-5 still, breath away.
I like that you and I like the same price horse in this race.
We both like the two. Towhead in here. For Mike Maker, Ramon Vasquez will be aboard, who, potentially, too, a horse who could be in front in this race.
I agree. I'd like to see Vasquez be aggressive. Bengala Joy has some speed, but I like to see him go to the lead in this horse.
Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Wishing you the guys the best of luck with Towhead here. I didn't necessarily see it, but we'll see what she does getting back to the turf. As we'll check in with the two Chad Brown runners that are coming in off of layoffs. And let me say that Breath Away looks great here, and I love the mile distance for her. I think she fits it perfectly, though, as we'll check in with number 1, that is Revelita, as she comes back off of a considerable layoff, and she does get Lasix for the first time in her career now as a 4-year-old. She's very energetic, so I do like the mile. Sticking with that makes sense. She's built more like a miler, but she kind of came in a little bit hot, and like I said, it was pretty warm earlier, but it's cooled off significantly in the last few hours, and she just looks as though she's going to need a start, kind of to shake off that ring rust, that nervous type of energy that you do see horses coming in with sometimes off these types of layoffs, and just to get fit again. So I'm going to take the wait and see an approach. I like her. I like that she's getting a little class relief too here at this distance. Moving on to number 6, Alluring Angel. I prefer the aforementioned Chad Brown runner to this one, and the board would too. She just doesn't look great. She doesn't look great in her coat. She looks fit enough here, and she has filled out, which I respect because she didn't really do that from 2 to 3. She has done it from 3 to 4, but again, one that I will sit back and let her beat me today. As we'll check in with number 8, Swoop to Finish, who I really like the looks of here. I'm concerned that a mile might be a little bit short for her. That's my biggest problem. But she looks so much better as a 5-year-old than she did as a 4-year-old. She's carrying better weight and conditioning that I've ever seen from her in the past. I like the effort that she comes in here off of, and she's got good energy. I really think she moves forward from that first race back here on May 17th, Greg. So she's going to be my selection in this affair.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We're going to get to the post parade here momentarily. So we approach the 7-minute mark to post here in our feature. Let's go back to May 17th. Breath Away, Malimu, Swoop to Finish, all facing off.
Yeah, I didn't see anything out of this race that would make me want to play either Malimu or Swoop to Finish. I think Swoop to Finish might be a little better with more distance, and I don't know where a race is that wins here. She did a save ground and sort of did no real running. At least in the case of Breath Away, she was at least a bit wide. So I do think she'll probably run better. And she has that race 2 back to get to, even 2 and 3 back, that make her a major player here.
And it was her first start off the bench.
Yeah, now it was also Swoop to Finish's first start off the bench. And it was also Malimu's first start off the bench. So maybe both of them can improve. I just never particularly like these horses, so if they win, I'll lose, which is fine. Revelita, we'll see. I mean, Chad Brown at Naira, 30% with 107 stars over the last 5 years in turf routes off 250-plus day layoffs. He has them ready. She's technically running one condition too high. She could be eligible for Naira's and 1s. Given the purse discrepancy, I still think she's the horse to beat.
Here's Revelita, 4-year-old debut for Chad Brown coming up.
And she draws well on the inside with the rails down to 0. Can she get the right trip?
Graded stakes placed on a couple of occasions. Towhead at 11-1.
We like Towhead. We like to see her be forward. This horse was running figures around 70 as a 2-year-old and finished first in the turf race that was without no contest. And I think she's improved a lot, and she's finally getting to the right surface.
Bengala Joy blinkers on.
Yeah, she looks overmatched.
1 of 2 for Christophe Clement. Here's Malimu in that race we just showed you.
Somebody paid a lot of money for this filly a few starts ago, and she has certainly not lived up to it yet.
Alluring Angel, another one for Chad Brown. Manny Franco aboard.
Boy, she's got to get better to win here, and Maggie thought she might need her. Didn't love the way she's coming in the race.
The other Clement and the favorite at 9-5 with Ryan Ortiz Jr. Breath Away.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the races. She did not run that well with a little bit of a wide trip, not that wide last time, but her race 2 back was exceptional.
Mott Jr. swooped to finish.
I don't love her. I don't know where her race is necessarily wins it at that price, but others will disagree.
All right, let's go back to Towhead and the positives with this filly at double-digit odds.
Well, this horse, as some will remember, finished first in a race ruled no contest when half the field pulled up in the backstretch because there was a gate issue and they were told by the outrider. She beat Idea Generation, who at the time was considered Chad Brown's top 2-year-old filly. She didn't really pan out, but she's not that bad a horse. And they ran the turf, and she lost to a horse, Chop Chop, who's now a stakes winner and one of the better turf marathon horses in the country.
Graded stakes winner.
And a graded stakes. No, she's good. And she ran reasonable figures before not running well in the Jessamine. They ran on the dirt at Churchill because the turf course wasn't in use, and she ran fair. So they took her to Oakland where there's no turf course, where she ran a huge number, which encouraged them to run keep staying in the dirt. And they kept staying on the dirt, and she never ran back to that figure. They wanted to run on the turf last time. The race got rained off. Now they're getting back to the surface where they started her career and where she ran well enough as a 2-year-old that she could easily run figures in the mid-80s good enough to win this race. She's supposed to be forward. I think she makes a lot of sense in this race.
9-1 now. Ramon Vasquez will be aboard for the Mike Maker barn, and we'll see how aggressive they choose to be with a filly who, all her turf efforts back as a 2-year-old, she was either in front or tactically right there as we take a look at the 8. Swoop to finish without outside posts for Bill Mott.
Yeah, listen, I just don't know where her races are that are good enough to win this race, personally. I think it's unlikely that Revelita doesn't run a better race than she's ever run. To be competitive, sitting on the rail and getting it done, getting that 82 figure last time, I just don't think she's good enough. But, clearly others disagree with me.
Meanwhile, this has been the favorite throughout. Breath Away for Clement. 4th in that swoop to finish Malibu race that Sacred Wish won in the comeback effort as a 4-year-old. But as you keep alluding to that race 2 back, and it was a big one at Gulfstream, 86 Beyer speed figure, and a narrow defeat.
And 4 wide the entire way around the racetrack. The winner came up the inside with a perfect trip. That was an incredibly tough beat for her in a very competitive field. And it's not like it's the only time she's run that figure. Now, whether or not she's as proficient in these 2-turn races, but at a mile, she's run well. I can understand the argument for her being the horse to beat, but she's got to run better than her last race. Sometimes Clement horses need a race off a layoff. I'm not going to be surprised if she wins. I think she and Revelita are very much the 2 horses to beat and the right 2 favorites.
Back to Maggie.
Yeah, it feels like the board is correct. It's just that the current favorite in here, Breath Away, has a recency angle over Revelita, who, watching her 3-year-old races, has a turn of foot. It's not that long, and she can't sustain it for, it feels like, an extended period of time, but she was giving herself too much to do. And based upon the energy that she's showing in the prelims here, I wouldn't be surprised if she does put herself a little bit more in contention, which could and should suit her well. As we'll take a look at number 4, Malibu, who's second off a layoff as well. She wanted to be forward, though Dylan Davis kind of restrained her off of that slow pace. I would love to see her forward too. She looks great. She's very fit. She's dappled head to toe. Like what I'm seeing from her. It's just, can she ever run a race that, is as good as some of these other ones in here? She's going to have to step up her game, and that's why you're seeing the 7-1, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Malibu will have Dylan Davis aboard for LSU Stables. The other Clement in this spot. And her second start coming back of her 4-year-old campaign.
Listen, somebody thought to pay a lot of money for her. I don't know if a win in the Penn Oaks would make me want to go overboard, but it did in this particular case. And, I mean, she has the oddest 2 races off of the purchase, right? She ran at 6.5 furlongs in Kentucky Downs. That didn't work out. And then they tried her at 1.5 miles. You don't see that too often. And that's sort of a suggestion. They're just sort of trying whatever they could. I think she's probably better in these races at the mile distance, like today, where she won the Penn Oaks. But she's going to have to take a step forward sometime. I didn't think she did much running last time, but it was also off a 7-month layoff. So she has a right to improve. I'm not a fan, but listen, I could be, well, you and I are trying to get Towhead home here. I think the 2 favorites are the right horses. If we're wrong with our horse, We'll see. See if it plays out that way. I would have used 1-2-7 here if I was playing the pick six, but I'd also be dead in the pick six, so wouldn't matter.
Yeah, Revelita, let's get back to her for a moment for Chad Brown. So 4 straight, right? The only time she's been on the stage, she's been a Graded Stakes company. So Chad Brown obviously thought she had ability, not beat by much with the exception of, facing surge capacity.
And, when she lost to Heavenly Sunday, it was in great form for Brad Cox, and she was able to wire the field at a slow pace. She ran very well. And then the next time out, she was trying to close on a very good rail on July 11th when Prerequisite was able to take advantage of it. And she had to wire with Be Your Best, who was pretty good at that point. And then she ran against surge capacity, and she was too far back and a bit wide in those races. So I don't think there's anything wrong with any of her races. I think she's good. I don't have an issue with her. I think she's the worst to beat, personally.
And the public now finally agrees with you, making her filly on your screen the 9-5 favorite, off since July of last year. But this barn, don't be concerned, has them ready to roll off the layoff. Chad Brown with Revelita. She is, even though dropping out of Graded Stakes, those were exclusively against 3-year-olds, and now coming back as a 4-year-old, she's facing 4-year-old fillies.
These were legitimately good horses she was running against. And, Surge Capacity went on to win the Matriarch later in the year. And Tax Implications, we saw that big performance by her at Monmouth, finally putting it together at Monmouth last time out. She's 9-5. Late money came in.
Even the runner who was 3rd last time out in that race, Lake George, was Secret Money, became a Grade 3 winner at Kentucky Downs.
It's an interesting race, I think. It's also important to note the rails are down for the first time, I think, in a couple of months on the inner, which could help horses that are on the inside.
So there's Revelita. Man, we just showed you the feature on. Flavien Prat become one of the preferred riders for Chad Brown, making that move east. We'll break from the inside. There's the long shot towhead. Can Ramon Vasquez try and dictate things on the front end early? Getting back to a surface she ran very good on as a 2-year-old, but has not been on since October of 22. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call, our Thursday feature from Belmont at the Big A.
Thank you, Greg. Alluring Angel goes in. Here's Breath Away and Swoop to finish. Swoop to finish goes in. All set. And they're off. Good break for Breath Away, right towards the front. Has company from Malimu in between horses. Malimu is quickest. It's Malimu who's up by a half length. At the rail will be Towhead. No pressure on for the leader now as they start to back off the pace as they work towards that first turn. That's going to allow Swoop to finish to join the leader. Is out in the 3 path, is trying to move in closer. It's Malimu and Dylan Davis. They hug the rail and they're in front. Only by a neck now as here comes the pressure from Junior Alvarado and Swoop to finish. Now these two head and head. Just off of them, Breath Away is tracking from the 3rd spot. Towhead tightly at the rail is in 4th. Out wider, Bengala Joy wants to move forward from 5th. Second to last will be Revelita. And the trailer, Alluring Angel. Still head and head as they work up the backstretch now. Malimu's got company to the outside from Swoop to finish. They went 24 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Breath Away gets a nice journey. Is just stalking the pace setters here from 3rd. At the rail is Towhead, who's now a shared 4th. Bengala Joy is 3 wide in that center grouping. Second to last is now Revelita, who starts to pick it up, just split rivals, and the trailer, Alluring Angel. The front two continue to go at it, 48 seconds flat for the half-mile time. At the rail, it's Malimu to the outside, Swoop to finish. Revelita's made a quick move, and Revelita's to the outside of Breath Away, who's had the best trip so far. Malimu and Swoop to finish kick on. Breath Away is now looming up on the outside and starts to sprint after the leaders, and here comes Breath Away and Arad Ortiz Jr. It's Breath Away, Malimu, very game down towards the inside. Alluring Angel is now launching a late rally. Here comes Alluring Angel to the outside, and Alluring Angel's going to run right on by. Alluring Angel gets the victory. Breath Away second, Revelita, and Malimu in 1 minute 35.43 seconds.
Alluring Angel, Chad Brown, Manny Franco, and 3rd win on turf for this 4-year-old filly. She's gone back-to-back.
This is a massive improvement. This horse really moved forward for Chad Brown. I actually liked her last time, and she got a very great trip to beat Not in a Million Years, who's okay, but not as good as these horses. And she really stepped forward here. They were not moving that fast up front. The race completely fell apart, and Manny Franco gets another win. Breath Away, she looked like a winner. Manny stole it in the shadow of the wire, and Revelita did her usual act running third. No major excuse for her that I could see, but a very nice performance and an improvement on Alluring Angel. It's the first horse that Chad Brown has saddled for Larry Goichman in quite a few years.
6, 7, 1, 4. Chad Brown first and third. Alluring Angel new in his barn. And welcome back to the winner's circle.
Yeah,
at 4 to 1.
It's a New York bred, really. No, I'm sorry, not New York bred. It's a European bred. I apologize. Really moved forward here for Larry Goichman. This horse ran here. This is a big improvement. Manny Franco, a perfect ride as well.
She showed some serious precocity back when she was with Jorge Abreu, back in her 2-year-old campaign in 2022. And yeah, this is a new filly we just saw right here.
This is a big step forward for her, and you know, no excuse for Breath Away. She got the right trip. She just wasn't good enough.
Manny Franco, 2-win afternoon for him. Back to a 7-win lead in the jockey standings. He's won some of the biggest races, not only on the circuit, in the sport, Michael Dubb, but his greatest achievement, we'll tell you about it when we come back on America's Day of the Races. Back with you on America's Day of the Races on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Thursday card from Belmont at the Big A. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by Fasig-Tipton. As we see Alluring Angel in the Chad Brown barn for the first time. 4-year-old debut, and different performance we've ever seen from her.
No, this is a horse that really stepped forward here. I know she's kept some good company and run against some good horses, but we have not seen a performance like this. And just a picture-perfect ride for Manny Franco as well. Could not have ridden this horse any better.
2 today for Manny. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
That's right, Greg, and padding that 7-win lead that he has on Irad Ortiz. And Manny, we know you're going to stick around and see and ride every day here until we get to Saratoga. Am I right?
Yes, I will be here.
So let's get that meet title, right?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you're well on your way. Let's talk a little bit about Alluring Angel. Manny, actually a first time on her, but you rode her to perfection today. Talk a little bit about your trip. For a mile, it didn't feel like they were going that fast, but in the end, the pace did come apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they came back to me a little bit at the end, but at the same time, she was running. I have a lot of horse under me. I was a little far that I wanted to be, but she kind of hit the gate. When we came out of the gate, she went to the right side, so I'm on the back, so I have to, save ground, and hopefully what happened, they came back to me.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of tipping out, finding clear running room, and she was there for you. I thought it was impressive given the fact that she's been away from the races for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice training job. As always, like, Chai knows what he's doing with his horses, and I'm just happy to be part of the team and get the win.
Manny, Saratoga right around the corner. What do you set goals for yourself when going up there?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to stay healthy. That's the main thing. And after that, I just keep doing what I'm doing. Work hard and try to win races. That's all.
Name of the game, Manny. Well done, you. And best of luck for getting this meet title here at Aqueduct.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, I love it. Manny Franco, too, wins on the card, Greg. And he's just so good, so consistent throughout the year riding in NYRA.
Tremendous ride on this filly for Manny. 2-win afternoon for him. That lead back to 7.
It's kind of a team effort up here. None of us like this horse. I think we kind of all chipped in a little bit to help this horse get the winner's circle. And the other thing that helped, and Manny rode this horse perfectly, but Revelita not having enough horse to keep up allowed that seam to open up, whereas if Revelita kept going forward, Manny would have gotten blind switched in here and probably not won the race, but Revelita probably would have. So this thing has gotten a lot more interesting, huh? So $75, 8, so about $600, about $1,000 I'll make it. So about a $4,000 probably about a $2,000 parlay for $1. And let's see what take a quick look and see what the lowest pick 6 is. This is a tough one to put together, Greg. Even with, just shows you, even with that 3 to 5 shot, right? The lowest pick 6, you ready? Is $22,000 with the 8. And there are 1, 2, 3 horses not covered.
Wow.
And, that included, right, and that included a horse winning and paying the favorite winning the first leg and a 3 to 5 shot and a 4-horse field winning the second leg. Once again, and two $15 and a $10. And by the way, I could never have been alive, so I'm not suggesting I could have. But it just shows you, don't throw out favorites and think you're being clever, not using these horses. If you get to the right horses, make sure you get there by using the ones that are the logical winners in here, because one short price does not determine a pick 6. And there are no big prices in this sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, and this, by the way, good luck if you're alive. This is not an easy race. I found this to be
tough one to close that. Mile and a
race.
16th, outer turf, New York Bred's first allowance condition coming up. And right now, the 8, the 9, as we expected, taking a lot of support in this race. We'll get back to it with more in a moment. Year after year, Michael Dubb is a frequent visitor to the winner's circle. Some of the most important races, not only on the circuit, but in this sport, competing for owners' titles at major meets. But for Dubb, his proudest achievement in this game isn't one of the numerous grade 1s that he's won or the meet titles. It's establishing childcare for backstretch workers at Anna House.
It's a daisy.
It's close. A dandelion.
Yeah, fine. No, it's a daffodil.
No, it's a dandelion. And dandelions grow in the grass. It's considered a weed. Okay, guys, have a great day. It's a dandelion.
People ask me, what's been your greatest moment in horse racing?
and what's your greatest win? And I don't hesitate, the Belmont Child Care Association is the greatest thing I've been involved in. And it's not me, it's we. I mean, you know, this is a team effort. Jerry said, you know, the kids at the track, of the people who work there, they're sleeping in cars, they're left unattended, there's nobody to care for them. It would be a great idea to build a daycare center. You know, Jerry, I'm a builder. I've always wanted to do something for kids. I'll do it. And I always thought I would build a daycare center and ride off into the sunset. But here I am, addicted to horses and addicted to the daycare center. You know, picture going into school and you have a problem with, you know, understanding what the teacher says. So we eliminate that. And now you're going into school and you're actually ahead of what the teacher is teaching. Think of the confidence it instills. So we put the children in such a great position to excel, and they do. And it's great. And the parents have complete peace of mind. Not only are the kids being cared for, but they're given such a strong foundation and such great love and affection. And, you know, when they come out of here, they're really ready for preschool, and they get into preschool and they excel. You know, it's like having a strong foundation on your house. And they don't necessarily go away at pre-K. They come back for after-school programs. They come back and do volunteer work. They come back and help out. So the pleasure of watching these children, you know, grow up and be successful and be good people is just, you know, enormous, because we know that it all begins with the foundation, and that's what we do. It's the greatest gift. I mean, if you said to me, win the Kentucky Derby or this, I would choose this. So that's how I feel about it. Now, I'd like to do both, but that's a different story.
It's incredible what he's done, and, you know, added the Faith House up at Saratoga as well to expand the program, but has made just absolute difference maker.
No, Michael's an integral part of a lot of things we do, the chaplaincy as well, and helping them, and they built their new building. But obviously, the work with BCCA and everybody involved in it, and Joanne Adams that obviously runs it, and everybody she works with as well, Rachel Battle she works with, they do such a good job, and it's such an, I think it's one thing that everybody at NYRA that has something to do with it, and all the people that we mentioned before, and most of them not at NYRA, it's just such a good thing to do, to be able to provide this for the children of the backstretch workers. And it should be a model for the rest of the industry as well, having it here. I mean, taking advantage of Maggie's use it for the, you know, child care as well, having Faith's House. It's such a terrific organization with so many people contributing, and Michael, obviously, an integral part of that.
Had some of the graduates
that was
on hand. You were in that winner's circle picture.
I wish I could have gone Tuesday. I had a doctor's appointment. I couldn't go. I had to get new glasses.
Maggie, with more on how important this program is.
Well, yeah, as Andy said, I would be lost, Tom and I would be lost if we could not send our girls to Faith's House every day up in Saratoga, because they're open from 5 to 5. So it's covering everybody on the backside. And then a lot of those parents, they work double jobs up there, working in the barns in the morning and then working either concessions or on the front side or just running horses. So congratulations to the graduates of 2024. Let me tell you how much of a leg up they have when entering school now. They are going to be able to speak dual language. They'll have their English skills as well to feel comfortable in attending schools in America. So it's just such a great program. And two, they also have a fundraiser up in Saratoga. Racing for the Children will take place on August 22nd. It's a Thursday this year at Universal Preservation Hall, as well as the Adelphi Hotel. Looking forward to that. Tom Morley, my husband, and I, we get to do a little emceeing for the auction. And Andy, he just runs the show. I mean, what else can this guy not do?
Yeah, I got to see you in person. You were tremendous hosting last summer.
I got to say, in all honesty, and I know that Maggie feels the same way, It's an honor that they would ask me. It really is. It's such a great, great organization that does so much good. I can't say enough. And to me, it makes, I mean, listen, it's sometimes, things happen. I feel genuinely honored, and I'm not joking. I really do that they would want me to do that, because it's a great event to do something that's really good in racing.
Changing children's futures. So important. What a great program. We're going to take a timeout. We got the finale coming up from our Thursday coverage. Belmont at the Big A here on Fox Sports 2. Closing it out, mile and 16th on the turf for New York Preds. Next.
Gunrunner is the sire of 12 millionaires and 10 Grade 1 winners, including Gunpilot, Vava, Toyota Bluegrass winner Sierra Leone, Champion Echo Zulu, 2-time Grade 1 winner Cyberknife, 3-time Grade 1 winner Taba, Track Record Setter Society, Locked, 2-time Grade 1 winner Gunite, and Classic winner Early Voting. Hall of Famer Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Buy in July. America's #1 ranked yearling sale by percentage of stakes winners, stakes horses, and 2-year-old winners. A catalog packed with precocious yearlings by the nation's best sires, plus a showcase of the freshman sires of 2024. Recent grads include Grade 1 winners Carson's Run, Candy, and Go Rocket Ride, with a growing list of graded stakes winners. The Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings, July 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at NYRA tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races. We have the nightcap here in the paddock for the New York Preds. They are on the turf and they are traveling a mile and a 16th distance. And we'll start by talking about 2 horses that come out of the same race. And that was the race back on April 28th. We'll begin with the Paddock Pastor, who I still don't know why he was favored that day, because it was based off of one race in which he won at 9.5 to 1 as a 2-year-old, and he was facing Older Company and not a salty field, but a field that it shouldn't have been favored in. And that day too, like his debut, he was still quite green in the paddock, just lacked a ton of focus overall. He had done well from 2 to 3 physically, but still didn't look that fit. Now today, he's a professional. He is behaving better, much better than he did in his first 2 starts. Still could look a bit more tucked up, though. If you're going to take a short price on him, I just wish he looked a bit more defined. Whereas number 8 in here, Gem Mint 10, who nearly won the race and stole it on the front end for Ray Handel and Dylan Davis, he definitely took the step forward, at least from a buyer speed figure standpoint, from a 3 to 4. I just thought he looked a little bit too lean, like he needed to strengthen up, though he was incredibly fit. He has come out of that race so much stronger. So I really like what I'm seeing from Gem Mint 10 today. I think he should be very dangerous if he can get close to that last race. Greg, and looking at him physically, he looks as though he surely can.
5 to 2 favorite, Gem Mint 10. Second start off the bench for Ray Handel with Flavien Prat.
I picked him. I'm a little concerned. He's not likely to get the same kind of comfortable trip in front that he got last time with Laurel Valley in here. Sonic Speed also has, not him, but also maybe Thrill of Victory's aggressive. So we'll see if he can get the right trip. I thought this was a wide open race. I'll tell you what's amazing. There are 3 horses not covered in the pick 6. Now, the 5 and 7 are understandable. They're 53 and 58 to 1. But the 11 Shinsen, who I actually picked 3rd, and is 8 to 1, is not covered. How
is carryover day?
How
Surprising.
I mean, I get the 5 and 7. You know, they're close to 100 to 1. I get that. But this horse isn't even. I mean, there's 3 other horses on the board that are bigger prices that are covered. That's bizarre, right? So very random. So this horse, if we have a carryover, it'll be Shinsen winning, in all likelihood.
Riders up, call to post behind us, and we'll take a look at Slap in the Face to kick things off in our post parade. For Tony Dutrow, Manny Franco looking for number 3 on the card.
Draws a good post on the inside and comes off the layoff. Ran well enough with a good trip to win last time. I don't think this horse is supposed to be twice the price of the Paddock Pastor, except the layoff.
One of a couple for Christophe Clement, and they break right next door to each other. Better lucky than good.
You're going to have to be lucky to win with this horse. Got a perfect trip against this subpar field. Underlay at 6 to 1, in my opinion.
Stablemate right here, the Paddock Pastor.
At least he has a race under his belt. Maggie and I were on Talking Horse together when this horse ran last time, and neither one of them. She made the good point that Easy Roll, her husband's horse, should have been a shorter price. She was right. Finished ahead of her. One of the craziest favorites I've ever seen last time.
Good runner-up finish at Gulfstream back in March for the Thrill of Victory.
This is a very wise claim of a New York bred for $16,000. Now comes up here. New gelding as well.
Jump to Laurel Valley, who was forward throughout and got beat a half length last out.
I will tell you, this horse made some run impressively last time, but probably not good enough to win.
Kendra Carmouche there for
sorry,
Mike Maker.
my fault.
Gem Mint 10, the favorite at 5 to 2.
We're jumping, the horse is not covered. My top choice. Laurel Valley is speed, by the way.
Here's the 9, Sonic Speed, who is a stalking type.
Switched back to John Velasquez, who obviously was in the Derby. That's why he didn't ride last time. And this is a consistent runner for Tom Morley, and definitely a player.
Easy Roll, Stablemate for the Morley Barney.
Doesn't got to improve, but is second off a layoff and lightly raced. So if he takes another step forward, not impossible. Tom's got 2 live horses here.
Carryover horse, Shinsen with Katie Davis.
Going to get more pace than last time. That steady, the 16th, was sort of meaningless, at least in my opinion. But I think the fact he gets more pace, he is pace compromised in general. But if he gets some pace to run it here, why is he big a price?
Back to the 7, Provision, Lolita Shibmangle.
This would be a surprise to pick 6 players as well.
And Financial District, 60 to 1, competing for biggest price on the board.
So is that what we did? We saved the 3 horses not covered in the pick 6
yes,
for the last horses.
That's
in the
how
post
good
parade?
our team is behind the scenes.
Yeah, these guys are, I tell you what, in spite of Mitch Levitas, these guys are doing a great job. Did you watch this horse's race at Delaware by a wild chance?
I did not.
This shows how meaningless my life is. That race did not completely fall apart despite the fast early pace. This horse was flying. If you bet this horse at 13 to 1, you're still sick. Now, it's going to have to run better to beat this field, but this horse made some run.
A big jump, though, speed figure-wise.
No, I agree. This horse took a huge step forward. First time going long on the turf. And rightly so, trying New York breds up here. I mean, listen, I don't like this horse, but it's 60 to 1. There should not, I'll put it this way. I don't think this horse should be 60 to 1.
That's fair. Here's a look at one of the Tom Morley runners in here, and the more highly regarded Sonic Speed. This was back on May 3rd, off a short layoff here, Belmont at Aqueduct, and missed by a nose.
It's a credit to him and to Tom as well, and it hurts me to say that. He's just incredibly consistent, right? He shows up. He's got enough tactical speed that he can put himself in position as he did here if the pace is kind of slow. The horse that beat him, Cable Ready, got an absolute dream trip to beat him this day. And that horse came back and, as you said, ran a respectable race in the Pennine Ridge, running fourth on top of a slow pace. That horse is in again, I think, tomorrow. But they're okay. And I mean, he just shows up and runs every time. I'm going to root for the house horse here.
I like the way he
Maggie.
looks on the track, too. 3 to 1. Meanwhile, favorite remains Gem Mint 10. He was forward in his comeback race, first of his 4-year-old season. And he had the lead in the stretch. He got nailed by a nose.
He lost to a better horse, so the better horse had a much tougher trip. But Be of Courage, the idea that Be of Courage wasn't favored in this race was laughable. I mean, he was clearly the horse to beat, a horse who had been disqualified in his prior race, and they were simply over-betting the other horse because Irad was riding. He was very game down the wire, but he did able to control on the front end, getting an inside post. Different story here with an outside post and other speeds, but if he works at the right trip, he's definitely
And he
a player.
gets Flavien Prat.
He's pretty good, right?
3 minutes to post in this nightcap. Let's go back down to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll take a look at number 1. That is Slap in the Face, probably the best name that we'll see for an Oscar performance. Cleverly done. Tip of the hat to whoever did that for the old Will Smith fiasco. But this guy has filled out quite nicely from 3 to 4, which I like to see. He was never one that carried a lot of weight and conditioning. But on the flip side of that coin, it gives the impression that maybe he's done a little too much filling out and that he'll probably need a start coming back here. He'll also need to get a little bit faster too. Wish that, you know, some of those 3-year-old races were a bit quicker to say that, yeah, he definitely can take the next step forward, and maybe he can here, but ultimately going to take the wait and see and approach with him. Now, number 4, the Thrill of Victory. Now, it's reported him as a new gelding, but here at NYRA, one of the things that we do very well is keep a great record of horses when they've been gelded. I can't necessarily say the same for out of town. He could actually be a new gelding because that date's not accurate. That's the date he was entered. Or he could have been done from between October and December. I don't know. But it's the first time I'm seeing him, at least, as a gelding, and boy, has it really calmed him down. A horse that used to get very sharp, very much on his toes, and he's chilling. He's very, very relaxed here. And as Andy said, a clever claim here for Peter Walder, and looks fit off the bit of a break. And then we'll get to my pick here, Laurel Valley. I picked him last time. Maybe he still needed the race because he is that big, heavy type of horse. A lot of times he gets himself kind of washy. Not the case last time, not the case today. I'm going to hope that he takes yet another step forward. And I do love horses with speed, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. I'm going to close things out here shortly on this Thursday action from South Ozone Park, New York, with a competitive New York-bred first allowance condition route race on the grass with a pick 6 carryover, double carryover hanging in the balance here.
And while it's likely to be hit, I think leaving the 11 out could be the one that Harris ends up making it carry over. This horse is not impossible here. We'll see if he gets the pace to run at.
There's Shinson with Katie Davis.
I don't think the horse is 10-1 right now, and it's an odd horse to have not been covered, especially given the 4 and the 10 are covered. And, getting back to what Maggie was talking about, the geldings, it's a huge pet peeve of mine. She's right. We've always kept great records in NYRA. We always announced geldings. We always had them accurate. And while I understand that people want to find out when horses are new geldings, if the information is not 100% accurate, it shouldn't be given out. And that's always been a problem that I've had. While I think their hearts were in the right place at DRF in doing it, I don't believe you should do it unless you know it's accurate, because if Maggie could be right, and there are some jurisdictions that are better than other ones. In the old days, we would announce them here, but also you keep the old programs in the old days. And you just go back to the last time a horse ran. I always looked them up off a layup when they were a gelding to see if they were a gelding before. And sometimes it's good to do your own work, especially if it's more accurate.
Favorite here to close out this card, Gem Mint 10. Pratt getting the call for Ray Handel at 5-2. We'll see. You see how forwardly placed this horse will be today. Last time out, off the bench, was forward.
I think he has to try to follow Laurel Valley and see what Thrill of Victory does. If Jose's aggressive with Thrill of Victory, maybe tuck in behind those horses, and we'll see how much speed even the paddock pastor shows with Irad. But I think he needs to look to get that position and count on him, Flavien Prat, to go forward out of the gate.
Surprised the 4 taking no attention here.
Yeah, has to probably get a little faster, but not impossible.
15-1 with Jose Lezcano for Peter Walder.
Covered the pick 6, though.
Set for the nightcap. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Is it? All set. And they're off. Shinson off very slowly, was off last. Speed to the inside from Slap in the face, slap in the face, but has plenty of company, and from the outside draws. Here comes Laurel Valley. Laurel Valley, the thrill of victory in the early mix, and also joining them is Gem Mint 10. It's Laurel Valley seizes command. Laurel Valley is up by a full length now. Gem Mint 10 is to the outside of the thrill of victory as they're second and third. The Paddock Pastor wants to go, is very rank here, working to the back stretches in fourth. To the outside comes Sonic Speed, who's in fifth. Then at the rail, there's Better Lucky Than Good, who's now in sixth. And behind them comes Slap in the Face, who's seventh. Back to eighth is going to be Easy Roll. In behind them comes Provision. The two at the back, Shinsen with Financial District. They work up the backstretch here, 23 and 4. For that opening quarter mile unopposed, it's Laurel Valley. Laurel Valley's got the lead with Gem Mint 10 in stalking position from second. At the rail, the thrill of victory. Also chasing there is Sonic Speed. Now more settled is the Paddock Pastor, is in the fifth position in between horses. Then at the rail is Better Lucky Than Good, trying to make up some ground from the back as well. Slap in the Face is starting to pick up, and then Easy Roll. Provision, Shinsen, and the trailer, Financial District, 47.59 for the half-mile time. Laurel Valley is still there. It's Laurel Valley. Gem Mint 10 is ready to pounce towards the outside. Also shoved along is the thrill of victory. The rest with some running to do. Better Lucky Than Good is now in the clear. Laurel Valley is still there. It's Laurel Valley. Better Lucky Than Good is rolling on the grandstand side, though. Here comes Better Lucky Than Good. It's Laurel Valley who's got the lead. Better Lucky Than Good with every stride moving in closer. Better Lucky Than Good to the outside. Late run here, Easy Roll. Better Lucky Than Good at 11-1. Better Lucky Than Good wins it over Laurel Valley, Easy Roll, and Slap in the Face in 1 minute 41 and 4.
An 11-1 shot to close out this pick six carryover. Better Lucky Than Good. Christophe Clement, Dylan Davis.
Another one I feel like I helped get into the winner's circle here. I have no idea where this race came from. This horse has improved dramatically for Christophe Clement. Good trip or not. I mean, this horse's last race gets nothing here. This horse took a huge step forward. No excuse for the number 8. Gem Mint 10 was stalking a fair pace, just not able even to get by Laurel Valley, frankly. And along came Better Lucky Than Good, and the 10 Easy Roll making a big run at the end as well. A no-show here for Sonic Speed, by the way. It's the only...
Yeah, it's the other Tom Morley that winds up running big here.
One of his rare, less than good efforts.
2, 6, 10, 1. 20-1 shot on that third place finisher. 11-1 on top, though, with Better Lucky Than Good for Adelphi Racing Club. Clement and Dylan Davis.
Yeah, tough beat for the 6. Congrats. Pick 6 was not easy. Congrats if you had it. Sonic Speed is a dull effort. The 11, Shinsen, completely blew the brake, lost all chance at the start.
Yeah, not today for Gem Mint 10 either. Nowhere late.
Oh, he had no excuse. He needs kind of things to go his own way to run his race, to be honest.
Dylan Davis had been on Shinsen last time out, although he'd been on this one as well. Opts to stay here, made the right call. And an 11-1 upset winner to close out this Thursday card on a pick six carryover afternoon. We'll tell you how big that return is if you had it when we come back from this timeout on our Fox Sports 2 coverage.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on our Thursday coverage here on Fox Sports 2, America's Day at the Races. Dylan Davis, Christophe Clement, and Better Lucky Than Good brings the upset to close out this Thursday card at 11-1. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Sorry, we were just teasing each other about wearing black, and we were like, it's actually kind of cool. So all those people who made fun of us are wearing black. Joke's on you.
Exactly. Exactly. I was worried they were going to cancel today. Now I'm cold. Thankfully they didn't.
Exactly, because Better Lucky Than Good. Great name. Did you come up with that one?
This was actually one of mine, yes. We vote on names, but I threw this one into the hopper, and I was lucky that the partners liked it. So that doesn't normally happen. I usually throw it in there, and then it gets like excluded in the first round. But this one actually made it. I always say better lucky than good, and I guess we were better lucky than good today.
You really were. But a big step forward from this horse today, breaking his maiden last time and facing a tougher field by far.
Yeah, you know what? Like going into this race, obviously we're biased. He had only run a 71 buyer, I think, last time. But he just like kind of looked like the horse that was always going to make his run, and he was just going to run as fast as the race finished up. So I always thought that, you know, he had a higher ceiling than, you know, the 71 buyer. Obviously there's some ceiling at some point, but we had optimism that he would run better today and run a better figure, and he did, and he beat some really nice horses today. I thought it was a really wide open race of nice horses, and you know, he ran very well. He broke well today, which is something he doesn't always do. Hopefully he's just maturing and getting better. He's still a lightly raced horse, even though he's 4.
And Matt, we see you in Adelphi Racing kind of expanding things. You've had a very nice horse on your hands in Panda Gate as well. Went to Dubai with him, but now pointing at least to a more realistic spot, taking advantage of being a New York bred.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we make the New York Derby. You know, Christophe worked him this morning. He worked well. You know, obviously in Christophe we trust. So if he can get there, you know, in the right way, I'm sure we'll run there. If not, hopefully, you know, we make the Albany. But, you know, we have New York breds. We love New York breds. I would love nothing more than to win the Albany in Saratoga. You know, obviously everybody wants to win the Travers and stuff like that. But, you know, as someone who loves to own New York breds, the Albany, there's no better race than that. So I'm just hoping, you know, that we go the right way up into that race. And if we can make the New York Derby, be a good prep for that, and we'll see.
Also some news as far as people in the team are concerned. Last name we're very familiar with on this show, Joey Migliori, son of Richard Migliori, becoming your new racing manager, correct?
Yeah, Joe's worked with us from day one as our Bloodstack agent, and he's honestly done more than that from day one, but, you know, been kind of noodling a little bit, you know, come on, let's do more. And, you know, we've been lucky. We've added a lot of partners over the last couple of years, and he's been a big part of that. And, you know, he's just such a good guy, and he does such a good job. And, you know, I'm excited for him to do more with us. And, you know, like today's a good example. Panda Gate worked early in the morning. I didn't have to go out there and take the video. Joe could take the video, you know. So
he's good for something.
He's already paying dividends, so on day one. So we like it.
Well, congratulations here in the nightcap. Better Lucky Than Good still gets the Best Name Award, and looking forward to big things in the future up in this summer in Saratoga.
Yeah, we'll see you up in Saratoga.
All right, Matt Kater of Adelphi Racing taking the last guys, and like he said, New York breds, it definitely pays to have them. Guys?
I'll argue he was actually pretty good. I don't know how lucky. Got a good trip, but he was very good today.
I agree. I mean, listen, he wasn't going to win this race off his last race. It's not just the figure that was too slow, because he's absolutely right. The horse could take a step forward, second off a layoff, a light race. He also got a dream trip to win it, and the horse that ran second, there's an argument should have won the race and came back and didn't run that well in his subsequent start. So I didn't think it was a race that was that good, and he had such a good trip to do it. He took a big step forward here, and talking about Panda Gate, a horse they have, he's terrific. I mean, he could be a major player, not just in New York red races. He's acquitted himself.
Third behind Forever Young, who probably was, I think, best in the Kentucky Derby.
Right, it would just come off a win over Dan. I agree, did a Book of Dano. So, no, a lot of things to be optimistic about. And, you know, he got the smart Migliori. I know it has to be Carmella that helped out. It can't be Joey getting those brains.
Pick six if you put this together. Well done. $45,536. A couple of $15 horses that were not easy ones to come up with. Princess Becca got bet down quite a bit with, I think, 15-1 morning line. Yeah. This is a tough one to have in the finale. Great handicapping if you put this together.
No question about it. A very, very tough sequence to put together, and one that you could make an argument you wouldn't have been shocked if it hadn't been hit. And that included a 3 to 5 shot winning in a 4-horse field. So it's not about 1 or 2 short prices. It's about trying to get some price in there. I wouldn't have come close to this one. I'd have done better with a dartboard.
I didn't know darts was your game.
I didn't say it was my game. I would have aimed for the 3 and hit the wall or something.
We got some good things to look forward to coming to this weekend. 8th, tomorrow's card. Very good race. We talked about Galibrand. We get to see coming back in that Wild Applause on Saturday. Got a good weekend ahead.
No, I agree. The race has been terrific. I just took a look at the Sunday's card. A lot of big fields on Sunday, and you and I will be spending tomorrow again together, and then I have to host. Acacia's left. I got to host on Saturday and Sunday, so you'll be rid of me.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you.
Coverage back tomorrow, 2 Eastern, as Andy said, 2 to 5:30 on Fox Sports 2. So we will see you then as we continue along here with Belmont at the Big A. Tremendous afternoon of racing, beautiful weather. And we'll get back after it tomorrow on the 5th today. Smoking hot. Kid, it used to be a turf horse. Well, the move to dirt, paying big-time dividends. Last 3 starts on the dirt surface, all victories. Gets a win with Kendrick Carmouche aboard at a very short price. And in the 8th, Alluring Angel moving to the Chad Brown barn and a race that she has never run yet in her career. Switch paying off. Part of a 2-win day for Manny Franco. And on to potentially bigger and better things off that performance.
Olympiad